Welcome to Kind of Funny's Harry Potter in Review. That's right. We are ranking and reviewing every movie in the Harry Potter movie universe. I'm Tim Gettys. This is Andy Cortez. That is Kevin Coelho. And over there, we got Nick Scarpino. I'm very excited to do this one. We'll introduce that in a second, Nick. Don't worry. Don't you worry your pretty little face here. I'm very excited for this. This is the first time we're doing a franchise in review, and it feels like a while because we had a lot of updates to the MCU in review, XCU in review, Fast and Furious in review. We did a couple Disney things. We got a solid 8-week stretch here going through the Harry Potter movies that I have never seen before.
So that's my question to you before we get into this. Like, what was your first impression? You obviously have been around Harry Potter because your brother and I are like the hugest Harry Potter fans.
The full transparency of all this is I saw the first and second movie in theaters. That's it.
Yeah. Did you see you saw them in theaters?
I saw them in theaters.
Okay, that was a long time ago.
That was a long time in 2001, baby.
Yeah, it was very, like I've told the story before, but my entry into the Harry Potter series in general was my brother's ex-wife. A long time ago was like, I want to go see Harry Potter, and he didn't want to go with her, and I had nothing to do, so I was like, I'll go with you. She's like, I'll buy you snacks. So I was like, deal.
I'm in.
And I went and I was like, this is gonna be dumb. This is gonna be a dumb kids movie. And I saw it and I was like, I
fell in love.
Really liked it. It wasn't until Chamber of Secrets came out though that I was like, I was faced with a dilemma. I was like, do I just give in to the fact that I think I love Harry Potter and go see this? And I went and saw Chamber of Secrets, and I was like, "Oh shit!" And I immediately,
crying your eyes out.
I know. Like, flash forward, I saw, and I hadn't read any of the books at this point, and I immediately knocked on my neighbor's door, and I knew she had all of them, and I was like, "Can I borrow the third and fourth?" And like the third book, she goes, "Here," and she just gave me the third.
Hell yeah!
This is before Order of the Phoenix had come out, and I just ran through both those books real fast, went back and read the first two, and I was like, "This is unbelievable." And then you have that bittersweet moment where you go, "Wait a minute." I have to wait.
Yeah.
Like 2 more years.
Caught
and
up?
I had to wait for Order of the Phoenix to come out. Like it wasn't even out yet.
Damn.
I was like, oh, this is the worst reality ever.
Life's hard.
Yeah.
I did read the first book in school. It was like required reading at some point.
Oh, interesting.
4th or 5th grade.
It's a great school.
Yeah. Wow.
You went to Hogwarts.
But that was a long time ago as well. I watched this movie, didn't remember most of it.
Yeah, it's interesting going back in. Like I was telling the guys, I was like, this series means so much to me that I had a little bit of anxiety. Like I had to really psych myself up to hit play on that first movie because going back through the whole thing again is just, it's such a journey.
It's definitely a journey. So this is Harry Potter in Review. Like I said, for the next 8 weeks, we're going to be ranking and reviewing each of the Harry Potter movies. You can get this live on twitch.tv/kindoffunnygames Tuesdays at 11 a.m. Or you can watch it later on youtube.com/kindoffunny or roosterteeth.com or podcast services. Just search for Kinda Funny Reviews. We'd really appreciate if you guys subscribe to us on those podcast services and left nice reviews because it helps us in the algorithm. Good job there, Andy.
It looks like we're fighting.
If you want to get the show ad free, you can go to patreon.com/kindafunny, just like our Patreon producer, David Mintel. He did it. Oh, magic. There's a lot of magic going on. Yeah.
Harry Potter.
Gotta love it.
I'm so scared he's gonna start talking shit.
So before we get into the actual movie stuff, Nick, there's houses in this.
We talked about this, and one of the fun thing about doing the series is going back through and making sure everyone is the correct house. And Andy had some issues earlier this week. Now I've come to the conclusion that I am Ravenclaw. It's unfortunate, but that I retested last time and I did it twice, and it was like, no, motherfucker, you're Ravenclaw both times. Now Andy said, listen, I'm Gryffindor. And I was like, I don't believe you. We all know you're Hufflepuff, and it's fine. And then other people have said that you're clearly Ravenclaw, and I can see that too. What happened? Did you retest last night?
I retested last night, yeah.
And it turns out,
Burn blue, dude.
Andy
see
walks in.
for audio listeners.
burn blue.
And Nick welcomes him to the claw.
All Nick says is, welcome to the team. And I have no idea what he's talking about. And I turn around, I'm like, what? And he goes, and he's mouthing and doing hand stuff.
RC didn't work.
I don't know what he's doing.
I quickly transitioned over to Ravenclaw. Right. And I was like,
now you mastered it though. The Ravenclaw.
This makes a lot of sense.
Now it's
really
so cool,
like it.
everyone. Before we started the show, Tim's like, I want to be a part of Ravenclaw, and I was like, you're missing out on what
It's blue,
Slytherin has
and you
to
guys
offer.
get the dope.
But Slytherin gets this. Slytherin.
All right.
Oh,
Let's go.
Slytherin.
You can like stick your tongue out. Like,
And so I am Slytherin.
God.
Yeah.
I have to be.
Yeah.
I don't
part
think
of the
Tim's a
boys.
Slytherin. I don't know.
What am I?
I think
He's
Tim could be.
100%
I think he could
Slytherin.
also be Ravenclaw.
No, he's.
I do because
I mean, he
Ravenclaw
could be, yeah. But
because
he's not-
Ravenclaw's main traits are that you're
blue.
like you're one of the people that like sits back and just kind of watches and just like figures out how to put everyone in the spot to do what you want them to do. That's like a Ravenclaw thing. Ravenclaws are like cunning and cold, and that I could see that in you.
That's Slytherin. Cunning and cold are very Slytherin traits.
I've only seen one movie at this point, but from what I've seen, not all Slytherins are bad. You know what I mean? The ones we're seeing, they're fucking little
There's
brats.
fine people on both sides, guys.
Yeah.
Well, that's and
I'm
honestly,
sure that there's someone in the back of Slytherin that's just like, I'm just gonna ride this out, and that's me.
that would be so. Like, but
100%.
that's honestly, and Kevin and I were talking about this earlier. That's one of the things I really appreciate about this series is that they take characters, and there is just a house that's full of people that are. I'll say morally ambiguous. Like Slytherin is a house where like great wizards have come from Slytherin, but some people have done good things, some people have done bad things. There's a lot of weird gray area in Harry Potter, even with a lot of like the violence that how they treat violence against kids and stuff, where it's like, listen, you're in this. There's a moment where Dumbledore does the announcements when they go into the Great Hall, and he's like, for anyone, the third floor corridor to the right is off limits for anyone that doesn't want to die a horrible death. And then he just goes around and it's just normal. Or like,
And Harry's like,
this
wait,
is a
what?
world that has,
You don't hear him?
but to everyone else, like,
wanna
no,
go back home.
This is a world that has consequences. And like, yeah, we're not going to treat you like a dumbass kid. If you're going to be stupid and go up to that corridor, you're going to eat by a fucking three-headed dog.
And you deserve it.
Also, when like he's about to go play Quidditch for the first time, and like the coach is like, don't worry, it's fine. He's like, how was your first time? He's like, I don't remember it. I got knocked out about 2 minutes in.
Yeah, he's like, I woke up in the hospital 2 weeks later.
Yeah.
It was Oliver Wood. Poor Oliver Wood.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Oliver
Barrett
Wood.
and Alyssa say that I am like
Porn
just the another manifestation of Luna Lovegood.
Yeah.
No.
I don't
And
see that as
Not
much.
even close.
So here's the other
I
thing.
totally
No
see that,
future
no.
spoilers. We need to remember
Sure.
that. I don't know who the fuck Luna Lovegood is.
she's
You're telling me
She's
of Oliver
somewhere there.
Wood and Luna
Well,
Lovegood,
what's
and you're
cool-
gonna tell me this ain't a porn movie.
So a lot of this first movie is really just setting up like all the characters and all the world, and that's one of its. I think that's the criticism I've seen, and we talked earlier where you're like it moves very weird and there's a lot of shit thrown at you at the same time. But I think it worked better in books because you're like, oh, I'm just being introduced to this world. In the movie, you're like, I feel like it's moving fast. Like, who's Madam Hooch? What's going on with these flying? I like it. I love this movie. But you don't get a sense of the other houses so much in this. You get a sense of Slytherin.
You get
Gryffindor.
the sense in the same way of X-Men of like, oh, that's the Brotherhood of Evil Mutants,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
these are the good guys.
Yeah, yeah.
It's just
But
like,
but
who
you-
gets points?
but-
Just
but-
the good guys.
But later you start seeing like other more fascinating characters from Hufflepuff
Yeah.
and Ravenclaw, and they all start meeting, especially when Order of the Phoenix happens, when they're all sort of forced together. But that's a future spoiler. for
So
later.
today we are talking about Harry Potter and the Sorcerer's Stone, aka
Don't
the
give it to him.
Philosopher's Stone.
Don't give it to them. Don't let them have that.
No. We're
have it.
sticking with sorcerers. Do you
I love
know that they
the
recorded
subtitles
both
are
lines?
Still, yeah, the
Yeah.
subtitles are still philosophers.
Well, in England, the
Yeah.
book came out. It was the Philosopher's Stone because
Yeah.
philosopher means something, I guess, different in the UK than it does
Which is
here.
weird.
So they recorded anytime the philosopher or sorcerer's stone was named, they did different cuts where they say different things. But the only characters that ever speak those words are Harry, Hermione, or Ron. Everyone else just says the stone.
Oh, the stone. Dumbledore never
Because they didn't want to have
references
those guys have
Smart.
to double up on lines and
Smart.
it's like
So they
game
just made
dev.
the little-
stuff. Yeah, exactly.
None of the real actors have to do it.
This movie was released on November 16th, 2001.
That's crazy.
Wow.
So long ago.
That's a long time.
But
ago.
honestly, I for some reason I
21?
thought it was like late '90s. I don't know why. I
The
like
books were.
Yeah, I expected it to.
But the books didn't finish rolling out until like the mid 2000s.
It was 2007.
I don't think the CG was fantastic, but there were moments where I was like, "Oh, this looks a lot better than I remember, than I assumed it was going to be."
I feel like there's a couple scenes that are like, oh man, it looks like crap.
Yeah, sure.
And there's nothing wrong with
But the
it.
snake in the
Yeah.
beginning, I was like, "Oh, not bad." There's like
the snake wasn't bad. The Quidditch sequence is a little rough, and
Yeah.
the troll sequence is horrible.
The problem is anytime they do full character CG,
Yeah, it's
it
bad.
just doesn't work.
Yeah.
And the whole
Yeah.
Quidditch thing, they're just like gooey people. It's like
Yeah.
flubber.
everywhere.
Well,
It
when,
didn't work that well.
Was it Neville that goes off
flopping
with
around.
and like
Yeah.
falls?
Neville
Yeah.
falls
Yeah.
when they're training,
Yeah.
but then the
So
other
his
people,
wrist.
when Oliver gets knocked out, that
Right. That has-
effect wasn't that bad. But then there's another beater on the Gryffindor team that gets knocked out. and
Another
that's just-
beater.
It's
Yeah.
bad.
Neville Longbottom.
Yeah.
I swear to God, you guys.
Well, I'm telling you right now, brother, you better strap in because you're gonna love all these characters by the end of this. I'm telling you, right,
Directed, and this is a shocker to
Chris
me,
Columbus.
by Chris Columbus. Do you know who Chris Columbus is, Andy?
No.
Let me blow your goddamn mind. Chris Columbus, not Christopher Columbus, is known for directing films such as Home Alone.
Yep.
Home Alone 2, Mrs. Doubtfire.
no wonder the music's identical. John
And
Williams.
It's identical. And John Williams did both. And then he also does the second Harry Potter movie coming up. He also wrote Gremlins and the Goonies.
Yeah, Chris Columbus is awesome.
Good for
And I credit him for really helping to like produce the series because he goes on as a producer. I think he produced the rest of the other 6 movies. in the series. And it's great because he was like, I'm burned out on directing these, but I do want to make sure that there's some level of like cohesion as they start messing around with bringing. You'll see with number 3, they bring in Alfonso Cuarón, and he completely changes the visual style. But the movie itself still feels like a Harry Potter movie, which is good.
And so speaking of John Williams, it's like there's just a magic to a John Williams score makes a world, you know. And when you add that to
beautiful
like aesthetics and design that actually is trying to do something, like Hogwarts, the scene where they're rowing up and you just see it for the first time.
So cohesive.
That's a great scene.
Yeah, it's like you just believe. You're like, all right, cool.
I misremembered this movie because I could have sworn it started off with just the bells. It doesn't. It starts off with the orchestral theme. I think later the movie start off with just that ding ding, the little just a little bit of the bell. But man, I mean, read this first line that I wrote here.
I just want to hear like, this is Halloween. This is Halloween.
He's the fucking goat.
A budget of 125 million, a box office of 975.1 million, and a runtime of an impossibly long 2 hours and 32 minutes.
So good.
I heard you guys having this conversation in the other room yesterday, and me and Gia had the exact same thing. We're going into this, it was like, it's going to be nice having like shorter movies, like we're going in, because you'd expect these movies to be what? 145. They're all like 2.5 hours.
God, and the reason is I think they wanted to, and this is another reason why I think the series is good as a whole, is I think they really were trying to like cram as much from the books in this as possible. Like Barrett will go through later as we get to some of the things they left out, but they didn't leave out much. There's not a ton of like I don't think there's any major plot points they left out. There's just some stuff later in the third act that could have been a bit longer, but you can see for reasons of editing where they're like, we don't need to put the shit in here.
Yeah.
Also, it would have been a little convoluted to include that anyway.
I was talking to Nick about going back, and we had just finished Lion King and we finished Aladdin, and you're going back to see these old movies from the late 90s, mid 90s, and you're like, oh, these movies are an hour and a half, and I had the same sort of thought going into this. And then I paused it. I was like, "Oh my god, there's a fucking hour and a half left."
To me though, it's one of those things. I haven't seen this movie in so long that the time didn't bother me. But I did sort of get to the midway part and go like, wow, I forgot this was a 2.5 hour long movie. But I love every second.
I'm glad you all weren't waiting for me to finish it because it took me a while, because I have to pause and like go do shit and stuff.
I think going back and watching it after all of them, when you know what happens, it's kind of like watching episode 1 of Game of Thrones, where it's like this, like, oh, this is so small.
Look at this cool
look at how far they came. But it's like just watching it kind of dry. Now I'm like, holy crap, it's a world build, and I get it, and I'm excited for the next ones, but like, as a movie, I was like, I'm not having a good time watching this.
Really?
Yeah,
that's unfortunate.
Yeah, but again, I get it. Like, I'm totally in, and like, I love so many elements of it, but it's like, it really just felt like a bunch of things that are just drawn out.
But I feel like that was purposeful. Like, I feel like this one was a little bit, they were trying to be a little bit more cinematic with like the way they shot stuff, to kind of be like, look at how crazy this world is, and like bask in it for a moment.
Yeah, there are moments, and that's what I like about this. Like the moment, this really is Harry's like trying to find where he fits into the world. And I love, there's a couple moments in this film that I especially just love, where the filmmakers take a second and we just sit with Harry for a second as he's like looking out over the lake when he first gets to the dormitories. And there's also just another scene where he's by himself for Christmas because the Dursleys don't want him, and he's totally fine with that because this has become his new home. And that's mirrored in the last line where, like we see him during Christmas time where he's walking around and just sort of, he has the run of the castle, and it's so cool. And then at the end when Hermione's like, it's weird to be going home, and he's like, I'm not really going home, not really, and because Hogwarts is his new home.
And then that was my thing, is
so fucking good.
Even though I didn't overall super enjoy the movie, that line when it hit that part, I looked at you, I'm like, let's fucking go. Let's fucking go. I'm watching this one right now.
That's your family line.
Yeah, I was just like, oh shit.
But that's the thing, it really is. I mean, not all jokes aside, Harry Potter really is all about family. Like, it is about him finding these people day one, and it's so, what I love about J.K. Rowling is that she captured that feeling of like you going to school for the first time and you're scared and you don't know where you're going to fit in, and then you meet the people that are going to be your friends forever.
And they're 11. Like, that's 11. The thing is, like, they're real 11-year-olds that are acting like 11-year-olds. I'm like, all right, I can fuck with this.
And like,
it's middle school age, right?
Yeah. I mean, it's 6th grade.
And I'm
like, this chronicles 6th through 12th, right?
It's 7 years. The school 7 years. Every book is a year, which is another cool device that I like, because every book spans that year frame.
I got some little fun facts.
Go for it.
The Chamber of Secrets facts. I don't know.
Yes, the Chamber of Secrets.
The Chamber of Truths.
Sure.
Chamber of
Truth.
Facts.
So what's the truth? What's the truth potion?
Truth just sounds cooler.
Veritaserum.
No, that's too hard.
Yeah, that's way too
We're not
complicated.
gonna go there.
Here's some Chamber of Truths for you.
Truth juice.
Let's Wingardium Leviosa.
Open
these
the
truths.
Chamber of Truths.
I'm opening the Chamber of Truths.
make
The
more
last
sense
scene,
next
the
week.
train scene, was actually the first scene that they shot.
Really?
Which is always a weird thing. Like, I understand that's just how
Why?
stuff
It's kind of
works.
like why.
But it's like this. It's so often that the last scene of the movie is the very first thing that they did. So just a little fun, little interesting something. But at first, producers wanted to combine the first 2 or 3 books into one film.
Terrible
thank
idea.
But then they
Thank God
realized
they
they
did.
could make so much more money by doing each book individually. The reason the producers wanted to, so originally they wanted to animate the movie, but they wanted to do that or combine them was so that because they were concerned that delays in filming would result in the child actors aging too much to continue their roles and require recasting. But because Rowling nixed the idea of doing either, the producers decided to film the entire series back to back so the same actors could play the roles throughout the entire thing. And because of this, because they were dumbass little kids, there's a bunch of rules of labor stuff that they made it very complicated. Every child working on the film still continued with their education, receiving 3 to 5 hours of schooling every day. They didn't receive any homework though. Because of their young age and those pesky child labor laws, Radcliffe, Watson, and Grint were only allowed to work for 9 hours a day.
Just not
Of
enough.
those 9 hours, 1 was for lunch. And they had a required 15-minute break for every hour.
Yeah. I mean,
So they only actually filmed for 4.5 hours a day. The 3 main actors were forbidden from skiing for the duration of the film to not
break
get
anything.
injured.
Can't break anything.
Too dangerous.
Yeah.
I will say though, I think they like going back and looking at them. I'm so impressed by how much these kids can hold those scenes at that young age. Specifically, Emma Watson, who I think Hermione in this movie is the standout performance. I think
Absolutely.
she fucking nails this, and she nails that vibe of being annoying at first, but then being like you very quickly as a fan of the series go like, as long as Hermione's there, shit'll get taken care of. Like she's the one that's confident and actually does the studying, and they kind of talk about that when they award the points at the end. The reason they get those points at the end is what those characters then become known for going on, is that like she's known for her intellect and like cool intellect, and she's cool under fire. Harry's obnoxiously brave and just runs where he's not supposed to run. And
Ron's known for his plot
Ron's more
armor.
just the glue that keeps them both together.
He plays real good chess.
He plays real good chess. Yeah.
You know what?
That's what he's known for.
Checkmate.
As soon as like I'm watching this movie and I don't, I'm seeing like early stages Hermione. I immediately think of like her arc reminds you of Topanga, where she's
Yeah,
like
yeah.
Big hair, dude.
Like she starts
Yeah.
off as like kind of like the really like annoying,
annoying.
nerdy, like
Yeah.
always raising their hands, always by the book, and it's like we're gonna get in trouble. We shouldn't be doing this sort of thing. Yeah, I just thought Topanga for some reason.
I love that. And true to her character, Watson over-prepared for her role, memorizing not only her own lines, but also everyone else's. Awesome. If you watch carefully, you can see her mouthing other people's lines
Oh,
in
that's
the
adorable.
movie.
That's
great.
And like, I
That's
saw a
really cool.
supercut of it. And she's just literally in the background like,
What an Ivy grad! What an Ivy League grad!
She's awesome.
that's also bad. That's not
not
doing
good.
your job right.
That's cool. Like,
But I mean, when you're 11 years
Yeah,
old and
you're a
nervous
kid,
and you're
yeah.
a kid, you don't really act
was this
that
the
much.
first thing that she had acted in?
I think it's
I
the
don't
first
know.
thing all of them did. I think.
They're
I
11.
know they did an open casting call for Harry Potter, and they saw
Yeah.
like thousands of kids.
Big deal.
And then when they picked like Radcliffe, I don't think he had done anything before. I don't know about the other ones though.
I'm looking it up.
Yeah.
Was it this movie or was there a Harry Potter movie where Daniel Radcliffe's voice was somebody else's voice because
It's
of
this
puberty?
one. It's this one, I
Is
think.
it?
Yeah,
Yeah.
I think. I don't know if there's facts that you saw on this one, but for sure, either this one or Chamber of Secrets. I think where they had to go back and redub some of his lines. But I think
With
in
another actor,
I
right?
think in Chamber they all have deeper voices because it's a
Okay.
couple years later and they are deep into that puberty area.
Yeah.
Oh, so this is Daniel. This wasn't Daniel Radcliffe's first movie. He was in a
interesting.
movie called The Tailor of Panama.
He was in the Tailor of Panama.
Apparently,
Man, that movie's terrible. That movie is Taylor Panama is one of the top 5 on my list worst movies ever made. To the point where I have only walked out of a handful of movies, and that's one of them.
wow.
It's a
his
really
fault.
bad Jeffrey Rush, Pierce Brosnan movie. Fucking terrible.
But
What a
just
combo.
deplorable.
but it was Rupert Grint and Emma Watson's first role.
okay, cool.
There you go. Nick, I think it's time for the plot.
Tim, just in case you were wondering.
Oh, I thought we were gonna do the theme song.
Oh, do you want to do it?
I thought we
Yeah.
did.
Did you do anyone?
Greg Miller's not here, but
he
worry
sucks.
not. Nick time, it is time for the plot. I forgot the lyrics. I'm
Okay.
sorry. I'll get it
It
next
was,
time.
it was good. It was
I got it
close.
next
Ladies and gentlemen, the wand chooses the wizard, not the other way around. And we're going to start this thing like every damn movie should start with John Williams' fucking unbelievable theme. He's the GOAT. If you come at me, don't even fucking come at me because John Williams is the GOAT. We start with that amazing orchestral theme and, of course, the title, which is Harry Potter and the Sorcerer's Stone, in that awesome like lightning bolt gold lettering over the stormy background, which, spoilers, it becomes a hallmark of the entire franchise, which is great. And we crane down to Privet Drive, the sign of Privet Drive, where there's an owl on top. And I looked up and I was like, who is this owl? I could not find who this owl is. Maybe Barrett, you can figure that out while I'm reading. Of course, the grand old wizard Dumbledore comes out of the fog, and he takes all the streetlights away with the Deluminator, which comes back a little bit later, but I had to look up the name of that damn thing.
Cool.
Deluminator.
Click.
He made it.
Click,
He invented it.
Boom. It was very, very cool. Takes all the streetlights away to make it a little darker, and then looks over, sees a cat, and it's not just a cat, it is a Professor McGonagall.
Transfigured, I think.
She's an animagus.
It's an animagus, that's right.
The tabby
She's
cat.
transfiguration, right?
Yeah.
The tabby cat used in the movie ran away during filming. It came back 2 days later. This is my favorite part from this website here. It refused to tell anyone where it had been, but it didn't stop smiling for days.
What?
That seems
What
like
a
it's just
weird ass
fucking
editorial.
it's made up.
She is very concerned, of course. Something drastically bad has happened, and she's like, "Are the rumors true? Is the boy okay?" And he's like, "The boy's fine." And as they start saying that, who comes out of the sky and is a dope ass Triumph flying motorcycle? Hagrid. That's right. Ruby is
Real quick,
Hagrid.
She says, "Are the rumors true?" And he responds, "Yes, good and bad, they're true." Like
That's
that's-
again. Of course,
That's
Hagrid
really
is
cool. I love it.
carrying a little bundle of joy with him. We put, we walk him over to one Privet. Is it one Privet Drive?
yeah,
Yeah.
no,
One?
four.
Four Privet Drive. Put him out. He puts the bundle on the front door with a little bit of a note, and then of course, as we finally see Harry for the first time with the iconic lightning bolt scar. And she's like, "Are you sure you want to leave it with these people? Because I've been watching them for a few days, and they are the worst kinds of people."
I don't get it. I
They're
really
the
don't. I
worst
really don't
kinds
get
of
it.
Well,
muggles.
I think it's
J.K. Rowling decided to put the thing like slightly off centered because like in the book on the covers like it is centered, and she's like, I didn't want it like that, but it was too late.
Yeah.
They printed it, so she's like, well, I'm gonna correct it with my movie. So.
that makes more sense.
Yeah.
The reason, of course, they left in there is summed up in one line where she's like, "Are you sure you don't want to take him?" And he's like, "He's going to be famous after what happened." And Dumbledore is like, "Yeah, if he's going to be famous, it'll ruin him. Basically, like I'd rather him grow up away from that." And of course, he grows up very humble because Dumbledore is. There's a potential that he's like, this thing just happened, and you find out what it is later. Of course, Voldemort was killed by this kid. So he's worried that this kid's gonna if he grows up to be an asshole, will be a powerful wizard asshole. Let's have him instead. Let's have him instead grow up in an abusive
That's my
environment.
thing. I'm like, out of all the options, like I don't care like if they're actually related or not, or they are.
Leave him at
with
the
sister
fucking
and shit.
fire station.
Yeah, like I don't know. Could have handled that better, Dumbledore.
My
Dumbledore's
apologies.
smart man,
That's how this starts. It starts with the theme, and then of course we see the lightning bolt scar, and then we go to the title with the gold title over the climb, which was the iconic title. Flash forward, and you're like, "Great idea, Dumbledore!" Because guess where the Dursleys made this kid fucking grow up? Under the stairs.
Yeah.
He gets a tiny little space under the stairs where he gets nothing, and then that piece of shit Dudley just it's
What
his
a piece of
birthday,
shit.
and he's just
Stomping down
around.
those damn stairs.
Now,
Kevin made
No,
made mention that he was
I
like,
mean,
"Oh my god, I'm Dudley."
No,
You are
I didn't
Dudley.
say that. I didn't
What'd you
say
say?
that.
What'd you say then?
I said we were at Diddums. Okay, we were at Diddums walking around, and I remembered that as a kid I was like, "Oh yeah, one Christmas I got like 15 presents. It was crazy." And then I was like, "Oh man, like Dudley.
I'm kind of like Dudley.
I'm kind of like Dudley in that one aspect of a bunch of presents.
Just that aspect then.
Just that one
basically,
aspect.
they've turned Harry into like the house servant. He's just waiting on them.
And they're
hounded
so
feet.
mean to him,
They're
just
so mean
constantly.
to him, and you don't understand why
No one does.
until much later. But that's his feature spoiler.
Doesn't the mom remind you a lot of Molly Shannon?
Yes,
It's
she's
weird.
awesome. Aunt Petunia.
Yeah.
So we meet of course Dudley, Aunt Petunia, and Uncle Vernon, and they are Harry Potter's blood aunt. She's the sister of his mother, and it's Dudley's birthday, and he's just a giant piece of shit. I will say as a fun note though, that actor popped up in a movie that I was not expecting. He's in one of the vignettes in the Ballad of Buster Scruggs.
Yep.
Oh.
And if you've seen it, he's the guy
What does
that
he look like
has
now?
no
No
arms,
legs,
and
no
legs.
arms.
And he's very skinny now, and he's a phenomenal actor.
He has no legs.
No,
in the Ballad of Buster Scruggs, he has no arms and no legs.
Got it.
And it's in one of the vignettes. You should check it out. It's very, very good. Of course, it's Dudley's birthday, and he gets pissed off because he's like, "How many presents are there?" And he's like, 36. He's like, 36? I had 37 last year. And Aunt Petunia, being just the rollover that she is like,
got
"We're
two
going to
more
get you
later."
another one when we get to after the zoo. We'll go to the zoo first." And then, of course, Uncle Vernon pulls Harry aside and is like, "Nothing better happen right now." And you're like, "What the fuck happened before? What has Harry been doing? Maybe he deserves to be under the stairs because he's a
What's he doing
psychopath who's
under that
torturing everyone
closet?
with his magic Jedi powers."
Mm-hmm.
They go to the zoo, and of course, they go to the reptile area where Dudley's
And
just
of course,
What's that?
I just like, and of course they go to the reptile area.
Which is, it was weird that we just started the reptile area, but it's fine.
Yeah, like they don't.
It makes sense. Like that,
No, but like they don't even set
Do you
up
wanna
that
see
he's
them
at
walking
the
into
like
the entrance?
zoo at all. You know.
It's fine. Well, okay, we'll move on.
it's just reptile areas where magic happens for Harry, right?
I get it, but I was like, of course they go to the reptile area, and he was like, that's weird. And then
no
I was like,
worries,
why
no
did they
worries,
start at the
you're
reptile area? Like, why wouldn't they start at the reptile area?
No.
I was like, what is happening?
I just think it's funny that you say, of course they do. Like,
Because for people who know the series and
Yeah.
how it progresses, the reptile area becomes very, very important.
Got it.
And his
Mortal Kombat.
ability to talk to snakes becomes a hugely important deal.
Cool.
So he speaks, what is it, snake tongue?
Slither.
Oh,
no.
no.
Parcel tongue.
Parcel
Parcel
tongue,
tongue.
thank
That's
you.
it. Yeah.
Oh my God, that's what you're
Don't
here
get
for,
offended.
Achievement
Don't get
Hunter.
offended.
Mute your mic. Pop it up when you need to.
They go to the
Barrett.
reptile area, and Dudley's being a complete shithead to this anaconda because it's not moving. And
Don't
Harry
want
looks
none.
over, and as he walks away, Harry looks over and says, "I'm sorry, man. Like I know he's a big piece of shit. I've been poisoning him for years, but he just won't fucking
love
die.
that.
He
Poisoning
just
for
won't fucking
years.
die." And the anaconda's like, "That's all good." And he's like, "Holy shit, can you understand what I'm talking about?" And he's like,
Yeah, bro. I'm
"Snake."
there,
He's
bro.
like,
got
"Yeah."
you,
And he's
bro.
like, "Oh, this is weird. I've never
My
talked to
brother's a big
snakes
piece
before."
of shit too.
Of course, Dudley sees the snake animated and comes over and starts banging on the glass again. And Harry looks over and like, maybe he knows he can do this. Maybe he
No,
doesn't.
he
Maybe
has
he's
no
torturing
idea.
Dudley.
He's
But
just
the
mad.
glass disappears.
Disappears.
And Dudley falls into the water with the snake. And then the snake like looks over, escapes, looks over at Harry, goes, "Thanks," and moves away. And you're like, oh, he can speak parcel tongue. That's pretty cool. A term that I just remembered off the top of my head with no help from Barrett whatsoever. Of course, Uncle Vernon's not happy about this because when Dudley goes to get out, the glass is there and he's stuck in here, just like that poor kid was stuck in the fucking tube and Harry and
Oh my God, it was
Willy
terrifying.
Wonka, and it was
Yeah.
terrible. I was like, that kid's gonna drown in there.
Also,
And
how scared are you if you're at the zoo? Just this giant fucking python is
Just
is
escapes?
slithering by. You're just like, oh my God, and it's like
They won't
threatening
kill
you.
They've always got like zookeepers around to stop people from
terrifying.
I do
dying.
not trust the zookeepers.
Like
the
tiger
snake
getting
is out of its
That's
cage.
scary.
Of course, Uncle Vernon's like, what the hell happened? He's like, I don't know. The glass was there 1 second, it's gone. It was like it's magic. And Vernon has a very triggered reaction to this where he's like, there's no such thing as magic. That you're just out of your fucking mind, kid. Whatever you just saw, you're crazy. And maybe it's some of the drugs that you're poisoning Dudley with, like trace residues on your
Why
hand.
do you
It
keep
doesn't
talking
matter.
about these drugs?
Because I would fucking kill that kid if I
No,
had to live with
yeah,
him.
it makes sense. I'm
Slowly
glad that he didn't
and
murder that whole
painfully.
family in their sleep.
Meanwhile, they go back home and after Vernon has given him the what for, an owl comes by and delivers a letter, an old looking letter, and it's labeled from Hogwarts, and that's cool. And Harry goes to look at it, and then Vernon snatches it out of his hand and sees that it's from Hogwarts. Is like, nope, we're not doing this again. This is not happening. And then more owls start coming. And at this point, if I were one of the neighbors, I'd be like,
What the
fuck is
hell
going on with this
fucking
owl
going on?
infestation that's happening?
Infestation is the right word.
It's an owl infestation.
And owls
and
are scary too.
they're terrifying. If you've ever seen a
imagine
featherless
how
owl,
loud that
it's
would
the
be?
scariest thing you've ever seen.
Featherless
Yeah,
owl?
they're
I feel like
terrifying.
we've looked it up before.
They're small.
They're feeble.
You know what I mean? It's like when
It's so
someone you
sad
think is
'cause it
buff and they
can't
take off the
fly.
superhero outfit and you're like, oh, you didn't work out at all for this role, bro. You're tiny. Whatever, Shazam.
Ben Affleck.
He worked out.
Of course, outside owls are everywhere. Uncle Vernon's like, this won't do. They keep delivering notes. He goes as far as to screw a piece of wood over the mail slot so they can't put him in there. And then the owls are like, dude, we're fucking magic.
Yeah.
You can't fuck with us. As they're making Harry wait on them hand and foot and deliver cookies to their fucking piece of shit son Dudley, that another letter comes through the chimney. And Harry grabs it, and then they snatch it out of his hand, and then boom, it's done. It's a fucking tornado of letters.
man.
You think you're gonna fuck with us? We're gonna fuck with you right back. We're Hogwarts, son. Hogwarts, right? It's a cool, great Hogwarts.
Also,
Doesn't
a
matter.
really ugly name for a school.
That's
Yeah,
great.
Hogwarts. Terrible. name.
Hogwarts.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Is there
I
any
never thought
reason
about
for that?
that.
Like
great.
warts for.
I was thinking that
Because that's Harry Potter, man. Again,
when he looked at it.
you would think any other
series.
series would have named it something beautiful, and JK is like, no, it's gonna be something horrible because that's this world. There's horrible and good stuff all at the same time. Of course, the Dursleys are like, no, we're gonna fuck this. We're gonna leave. We're gonna go to a remote lighthouse on an island.
The scariest
it's the
fucking
scariest
island.
place
How'd
in the
they
middle
get
of a
little
torrential
boat.
downpour sea.
Took a little boat.
Yeah, just went, like
Harry,
before the
make us
storm?
float.
Yeah.
Smacking him in the head.
And this is where they really kind of tug on the heartstrings here, right? Because Harry's sleeping on the fucking floor. Of course, that piece of total dog shit, Dudley gets the couch, and Harry's got to sleep on the floor. And we kind of
Nobody's swept in like 7 years.
no one's swept in 7 years ever, probably since the fucking Renaissance. And they look over. We dolly over and crane over to Harry, and what's he doing? He's drawing himself his own birthday cake.
It's so
with
sad.
candles.
But
Because-
also,
because these fucking utter pieces of human trash have forgotten this kid's birthday, and they don't care. And it's his
But-
birthday, and he looks
Harry
over the
Potter.
clock, and it's midnight, and he goes and he's like, "Happy birthday, Harry!" And he goes to blow out his own candles that are just again drawn in fucking filth on the floor, and then there's a knock at the door, and not just a knock. No one wants to answer this damn thing, and it's not going to stop this person because who should come through the front door? Rubius Hagrid. Boom, knocks the fucking thing down. And I love this character so much because he's a lovable dolt. He's a complete idiot, but we love him anyway. He knocks down the door, realizes he's knocked it down, walks in, picks it back up, and just puts it back in place and looks over. And of course, this is where the Dursleys, we start discovering that the Dursleys know exactly what's going on.
He
here.
come out with a shotgun,
Yeah,
too.
he comes out with a shotgun and he goes, "Dry up, you old prune," and bends the shotgun up and he shoots the fucking ceiling. And unfortunately, it didn't hit Dudley.
Why do you hate Dudley so much?
For good fucking reason.
No,
He's a
you
piece
should
of
hate
shit.
the dad.
I hate them all. I
Yeah,
hate Aunt
they all
Petunia
suck.
and Uncle Vernon. I hope he
She's
chokes
the
on a fucking
worst.
chicken bone. Of course, Hagrid has a surprise for for Harry. He gives him a cake. It's Harry's 11th birthday. And now, of course, all you muggles out there might not know what that means because you're muggles. But 11 is the year that you're supposed to start at Hogwarts. It's your first year. Harry asks who he is, and he goes, "I'm Rubius Hagrid, keeper of keys and crowns at Hogwarts." And Harry he's like, "I don't know what any of this shit is." And he's like, "Have you not told this kid what he is?" And the Dursleys are like, "No." And at this point, you're like, "Hagrid, kill him. No one's gonna know. You're on a remote island,
At this point,
right?
You
You're on a remote
bent, you
island.
bent a gun in half.
You bet a gun in half. You can smash their heads like that girl smashed that dude's head in what was that? The Amazon show that we just watched.
Oh, The Boys.
The Boys, yeah. But he's not gonna do that anyway because he's a lovable giant. He's a very sweet person. Hagrid gives Harry the letter, and it's his admission letter to Hogwarts, and he has the great line. He's like, "You were a wizard, Harry." He tells him he's a wizard, and Harry
Good
goes,
line.
"It clicked. That's why I can talk to snakes and do all this
Oh,
cool
man.
shit."
magic
Everyone.
motherfucker. This explains everything.
That's why I can make
Exactly.
glass disappear and shit.
Of course, then it's revealed that Aunt Petunia and Uncle Vernon have known all about Hogwarts, and they just don't want any of this shit to happen. And Harry gets pissed at him. He's like, "Wait, you fucking knew about this shit?" And he goes, and they talk about his mother and how he was like, "Well, my mom died in a car accident." And then Hagrid laughs, and he goes, "A fucking car accident? You think that would have killed
Great.
James and Lily Potter? Like, are you out of your fucking mind? They were awesome wizards.
So dope.
It was awesome. Like, I love that line. It was like, a car accident? Like, no, they're not going down like that. They went down killing the fucking worst dark wizard ever. That's James and Lily Potter's son. That's James and Lily Potter's son. I'm getting emotional. Let's go on.
He busts out a
then
blunt.
Well, we're going to.
And then Dursley fucking grabs the little cake.
Yeah, he grabs the little
and
cake and
goes to
starts
eat
eating
a
it.
fat piece of shit.
And and of course Hagrid gives him a pigtail, and he's not supposed to, of course, because Hagrid's not supposed to do magic. I don't think, and you're not really supposed to do magic outside of Hogwarts unless you're an actual established magician, but
Unless you
or wizard.
graduated.
But we do
That's
find
what
out
I
that Hagrid very, very fast and loose with the rules.
Yeah.
well, he doesn't really. I don't think he's a little screwless.
It's more
I mean,
like
there's
ignorance. yeah.
more about that we'll talk about in later
Yeah.
movies and why.
Of course, they bounce to London. Hagrid is now taking Harry over to get some supplies. Harry's reading the list of gear that he needs, and he's like, "I don't know where to get any of this shit." And Hagrid's like, "I do. Let's take you to this incredibly creepy pub. Let's step back about 300 years." And they go in, and I love this fucking scene because they walk in, and one person realizes that he's Harry Potter, and then everyone starts freaking out.
They shut the fuck up. They all
Hagrid does the
look.
shit.
typical Hagrid thing where he's
That's
like,
Mr.
me
Potter.
and Harry,
Yeah,
or Mr. Potter.
Mr. Potter.
Yeah. And it's just like, shut the fuck up, dude.
That'd be cool.
Yeah. But then we have a cool moment where everyone in the room shuts the fuck up and is like, oh, fuck.
And like literally at one point, someone thanks him.
Yeah.
And you're like, "What?" He's like, "What the fuck did I do? Who the hell? What the hell's going on?"
I just have a bowl cut.
And of course, this is where we also meet Professor Quirrell, I think, the Defense
Yeah.
Against the Dark Arts teacher, who was like, "Harry Potter, good to meet you," but I don't think he shakes his hand in this.
And immediately you're like, something's up with this dude's head.
Oh yeah, he's a
There's
white.
something sneaky
Yeah,
going on.
He's wearing that suspicious turban, and you're like, "Well, I don't know. That doesn't fit the ensemble." But we'll move on. Of course, they head out back, and he's like, "We're still wondering what the hell's going on." He taps all the bricks, and we head to Diagon Alley, which, if you say it very fast, is just diagonally.
Well,
which
is that
great.
why?
I don't know. Just
Okay.
funny.
Cool.
Don't ask questions.
I thought in the books it had something to do with like.
No. It's just Diagon Alley. That's just the name of it. Like all the
Barrett,
other
can we
things.
get a
Let's
read
move
from the
on.
master fan?
Yeah, I haven't heard anything about.
Is that what we're calling it?
The
master
master
fan.
fan.
I'm with it.
And I love this. I fucking love this because this is where we really step into the world of Harry Potter. All the students are there buying their like school supplies, and
Everyone's in their outfits.
everyone's
like
in their
wizard
robes. Everyone's
robes.
getting ready, and Harry's just like, there's just this unbelievable sense of wonderment that you start getting when they start stepping into this world. We see bats and owls, and then of course Harry's eye is drawn to this specific item that's in the shop window. What is it? It's a broomstick, but not just any broomstick.
It's the Nimbus motherfucking 2000. And that was
2000.
another get high moment for me. The moment I saw it, I'm like, oh, he's about to fuck people up with that thing one day.
And then we have the moment where he's like, but how am I supposed to pay for any of these things?
And we get introduced to Gringotts.
We got gold, motherfucker.
Where Harry's family money is kept. Of course, Gringotts is run by goblins, clever as they come, but not the most friendly of beasts. And they walk in, and he says, "Mr. Harry Potter wishes to make withdrawal." Oh, and he gives him this letter from Dumbledore, and he's like, "I have this message from Dumbledore about vault, you know what, with item, you know, like about the thing in the vault, you know, all that." So very, very trying to be as subtle as possible, but couldn't stick out more than like a fucking sore thumb.
This is one of those moments for me where it's like you can't have it both ways, and I feel like no matter what, I'm gonna complain. But it's like the practical little goblin dudes.
Yeah.
I'm like, this is rough. This does not look good. And if it was CG, I'd complain it was bad CG. So it was like, I don't know.
Bad?
Really? I thought it looked
Yeah,
good.
I didn't think they looked good at all. I was like, damn, this is. It felt really amateur for
Really?
the rest of the world. Like
Interesting.
seeing those guys because the set looked great, and then you see these little.
I like them, and I
fucks.
liked their practical, but they're freaky.
Yeah.
And that's what I
It's
love
the
about
hands.
this.
It's a sharp
It's the
teeth.
hands.
It's the sharp teeth.
There's a lot of freaky stuff
like,
about them.
That's what I love about this series. It's a kid's series,
Yeah.
but there's characters like this where you're like, that's fucking terrifying. Like if I had to go get my money out of the bank and those things were running it, I would be like, just keep it. I'll go to Citibank. I'll go back to the Citibank. Of course, they go to Harry's vault and they open it up, and it is just stacks of gold. And it's at this point, if I were a child who was abused most of my life, I'd be like, you know, instead of going to Hogwarts
I'm
town,
gonna hire
Daddy
an
wants to go to
assassin.
Ferrari town. Okay, Daddy's gonna buy a Ferrari,
Please
and we're
stop
just
calling
gonna tour
yourself Daddy,
Europe
please.
and fuck everyone. Like, I mean, fuck off everyone.
Okay.
He's 11 years old. He probably doesn't know how his pee works yet. But I'm just saying.
God.
He hasn't met the
One
horse.
second, I'd look at that and be like, wait a minute, I'm rich. I'm rich. You look at the piles of gold, you go, I'm rich. Time to exact my revenge on that fucking piece of shit, Dudley Dursley. We're going to hire 2 assassins.
I know normally we don't have future spoilers, but I do have a future spoiler question. Does he keep the pigtail?
So it's not addressed in the movie, but in the books, he has to get it surgically removed.
Yeah,
Cool.
yeah. In the books, like he hangs out with them a little longer before going out with Hagrid, and they like have like an appointment to get it cut off, and it's fucking hilarious.
It's awesome.
That's what he gets.
Then they go down to Vault 713, where Hagrid goes in and retrieves something that looks like it's wrapped, a little small object that looks like it's wrapped. Package, and then he turns to Harry and says, "Best not mention this to anyone, Harry, because this is just a giant wad of cocaine." That's what this is, and Dumbledore just fucking loves abusing the fucking Colombian cuckoo dust. Let's move on. Let's move on. Next up, of course, we go to Ollivanders, the makers of fine wands. That's next up on the docket. Harry, of course, needs a wand if he's going to be a wizard. We meet Ollivander, right? That is Ollivander, right? That runs the show. Ollivander?
Yeah. I can't tell if you're trying to like do the normal thing you do. Or...
I thought it was pronounced Ollivander.
No idea.
think it's
Renaissance, though,
Ollivander.
was my favorite thing.
No, I hated it. I hated it so much.
Of course, played by John Hurt. Is that the actor's name?
Yes.
Who's been in a ton of stuff.
Yeah.
And he's awesome. He's fucking awesome in this. And he picks out a wand for Harry. The first one he gives him, it just goes nuts. It blows all the doors out. Papers fly everywhere. And he's like, well, that's not going to be the one. Then he picks another one out, and Harry uses it. It does not go well either. It explodes.
Then he picks one up,
explosive
and
vase.
everything glows. It's like,
Dude.
okay, it's this one.
So in Universal Studios, they have that set up where you can go get your wand, and it's the same thing where a couple of them fail, and then you get it, and it's supposed to be awesome. I can't wait.
But I love this. And did you get the implication of who they were talking about in this? Obviously, they kind of beat you over the head with it, but like,
Voldemort?
yeah.
Yeah.
But it's fascinating because he's like, this is fascinating. The only other person who's had this, like the Phoenix that gave the tail feather for this wand gave it to only one other wand. And the person that had that did great things. Great, terrible things. But he says it in a way where you're like, do you respect him for that?
Yeah, no, you seem like a Voldemort sympathizer.
But like that's what I like. Where
You
he's
a
like,
Death
but
Eater, bro?
there's such an interesting vibe that goes along with this, where people appreciate like the difference between good and evil is like both sides are kind of respected and appreciated because you're like, well, he does great things, but he just used them to do terrible things, but they were also really impressive.
Well, Ollivander's also just like super weird, specifically when it comes to wand stuff as well. So yeah.
I mean, wand makers are super into wands. No surprise there.
It's
you know?
true. But I also love that the wand chooses the wizard, and that's another piece of fun Harry Potter magic. Like this world is built up that way. You don't get to pick your wand; it picks you. And if you get picked by a dumbass wand, you are stuck with that thing forever.
Dumbass.
There's a rumor Like I don't think this is future spoilers because it never comes in, but like there's like a theory that says that the Phoenix they gave
Was
those
it
feathers-
Dumbledore's?
Yeah, it was
Yeah.
Fox. That'd be really cool. If it was
Interesting.
True.
It's a future spoiler for later.
No, it isn't. It isn't at all. That is totally a rumor. That no,
No,
one knows it's true.
the fact that Dumbledore has
So
a Phoenix,
they-
we don't see in this film, but it doesn't fucking
Do
matter.
the wands do different things, or are all the ones the same and it just chooses you and just looks different?
I think they actually have different like
They have different like they're more
Properties
flexible. Yeah,
and
properties. That's the word I was looking for.
Yeah.
And it makes it easier to do different things.
different
Cool.
things, yeah.
Dope.
But it picks you because it kind of can see what you're going to be good at and says, hey, I'm good at that too. So potions, chants, enchantments, or other spells, things like that. Hagrid, of course, then interrupts. And who does he bring him? That's right, baby. Hedwig.
Yeah. And Kevin, really quick, that rumor is definitely not a rumor. That's definitely something established in the
Really?
Yeah.
Hedwig's dope looking.
Yeah.
All white owl,
Hell yeah, man.
white as the driven snow. Or the Calamine Cuckoo dust. This whole thing's just an analogy.
Cocoa dust. Cocoa dust.
Cuckoo dust. Later that night at dinner, Harry quizzes Hagrid about the person who killed his parents.
I don't know if I want to be Ravenclaw anymore.
Yeah, you do. Baby. They like to party. We're the ones that bring the
Yeah,
drugs.
what keeps him studying all night?
We're gonna go. And he goes, you know what, Harry? Not all wizards are good. And then he starts telling him about Voldemort, and it was dark times. Voldemort had followers. Nobody lived once. Like if Voldemort wanted to kill you, you were basically fucking
dead.
aced, man. Except one person, you. That mark on your head is left over from a curse, and no one's sure what happened to Voldemort. And he's like, well, is he dead? He's like, we don't think so. We think he might still be out there. But honestly, he's like, this is why you're famous, because when Voldemort wanted to kill someone, they're fucking dead. And there's only one person who ever lived. You're the boy who lived.
Boy who lived.
So cool.
Fucking cool.
Hagrid, of course, drops off Harry at the train station, and he's like, "Just head again." Proving Hagrid, kind of an idiot. It's like, just head to platform 9 3/4. And Harry's like, "Wait, there's no 9 3/4. Hagrid's gone."
Terrifying.
Just Dark
It's like your
Knighted on
first
him.
day of
Yeah.
school and like
Just Dark
college.
Knighted him.
It's like your first day of college. You're like, what
Yeah.
building is this? I
You
don't know
always
where
go to the wrong building.
Yeah,
You're
oh my God,
this is
yeah.
awkward.
Of course, Harry walks around and he
Scary.
asks an attendant, and he's like, "Is there platform 9 3/4?" And the guy's like, "Are you having a laugh? Are you taking a piss? Are you snorting that fuck off, you Charlie Bean?"
That guy went from 0 to like 100 way
Yeah, he
too
went hard
fast
on him.
on this little kid that seems lost and confused.
And then, of course,
Instead of being like, oh, let me look at your ticket.
Yeah.
You know?
Oh,
exactly. Like that poor kid could have just been like 9. He just wanted 9. And he's like, "Are your parents here? Where are your parents? Oh, they died? Oh shit." Sympathize. I'm
I
just
got
saying.
something for you here.
for
Platform 9 3/4, the entrance to the part of King's Cross Station where students could catch the Hogwarts Express, was filmed on platforms 4 and 5. Rowling admitted that she accidentally mixed up the layout of King's Cross. She had meant for platform 9 3/4 to be in the inner city part of the station, but platforms 9 and 10 are actually on the less grand suburban platform.
Interesting.
Man.
I think if I'm not mistaken,
have
there's
a-
actually a plaque there,
Yeah, there's
right?
a plaque there.
And now they put
Yeah.
it there for pictures and shit.
That's cool.
It's pretty rad.
Of course, Harry looks around and he sees another family that looks like they are probably going the same place.
In the movie, it's so like, come on, there's a bunch of muggles here. And then she's like, let's go find 9 3/4. And it's like, all right, well, that's real convenient.
Thank God, because
Yeah.
Harry's lost, and of course,
we're a bunch of wizards here.
but I love this, of course, because who is it? It's Mrs. Weasley, right? And we see Ron, and we see Percy, and we see Fred and George, and we see Ginny for a second, but she's not quite old enough to go to school. So if you notice, she has to hang back because she doesn't start, I think, until the next year, right?
Yeah.
Correct.
You think she's going to normal school?
No, I think she just sits in a room by herself and just goes, "Fuck, man, FOMO."
I think
just
for
like when we
wizards-
put,
man.
we put Joey in the back room, she hates it.
She has no
She puts
speaking
herself there.
skills.
We've never put her there.
Of course, Mrs. Weasley takes to Harry immediately, and I don't think she knows who he is at
no
this
one
point,
knows
right?
at this point.
Nobody
She's
knows,
just
but she just
awesome.
sees a boy,
And
and she's
Mrs.
just,
Weasley, just a great mom,
Just fucking
ready
awesome.
to help out a little kid in need.
you know, she has 900 kids. Maybe just, you know, maybe the wizarding world needs birth control. You know, maybe like a
No, there's like very few of them. They need to have a lot of kids.
yeah. They just got to
Yeah.
keep procreating.
Yeah, I
Well,
mean,
she
there's very think about it. In all of Europe, there's what 3 schools?
and also she's also had very competent children, with the exception of Ron, because the other two, the eldest two, like one wrangles dragons.
Ron's competent as head. He's
Ron's
like
a fucking moron.
I don't think he ever.
Ron couldn't fucking wizard his way out of a paper bag. He was
No,
getting
you're
strangled by
so
it.
mean.
Thank God he winds up with who he winds up with. No future spoilers, but
No,
man,
it's
No,
not.
that's totally.
he's fucking taking care of his ass
Okay,
the rest of his
let's
life. Idiot is like,
Until they
he can't
get
get
a
him out of the
divorce.
fucking bathroom. You gonna share those Swedish fish or what's up?
What's up, man?
Yeah, bring him over here, Chloe.
Kevin's eyes just light up.
like
Of course, she says, Mrs. Weasley says, "Hey, platform 9 3/4 isn't that pillar? Just run at it." And Fred and George run first, and it works out well. Of course, Fred and George, proving that they're kind of pricks, play a joke on their mom. She's like, I'm Fred, he's George.
So funny.
You can't even recognize your own kids. She's like, fuck, man. Like, I have 19 of you. I don't care anymore. Okay, mama just needs to go back and have some mama's courage juice. What is that? That's some butter beer. That's right. Mrs. Weasley drinking that butter beer when no one's looking.
Nobody. That's not.
Harry runs toward it, and she's like, best to give it a bit of a run, you know, just to get the nerves out. If you're nervous. He gives it a run, of course, enters the real world of the real world, where the real train is, where we find the Hogwarts Express, and it just fucking is cool, man. I want to go on this train so fucking bad.
But don't do that, or else someone's gonna come up and just run in behind you. You know what I mean?
Yeah, exactly. If you're standing there, you're gonna shopping cart up your ass. That's what's gonna happen.
Broken tailbone day one, has to stay home.
Oh
Sucks.
man, that's the worst. And then you got to hang out with Ginny, and you're like, wow, you're a fucking loser too.
Jesus, what is your deal?
Just joking. Ginny's awesome. Ginny ends up being confident, unlike
let's
that
keep
total
going.
fuckwit Ron. All right. The train has taken off, and we are on our way to Hogwarts. And I love these. I love these scenes. I love how bright and colorful this movie is too. Keep that in mind too as we keep going, because this is like the last movie that's colorful. Everything else just starts getting dark.
I wouldn't call it colorful at all.
Really, I think it's super
There's a lot of
saturated.
vibrant reds.
The greens are saturated. Madam Hooch's eyes are really stand out. We'll get to that later.
It's
Really
weird.
stand
Isn't
out.
it weird that like we associate this so much as a Christmas series, right?
I think that's.
And then we also do with Home Alone. Is it just the score? Does the score just sound like
they
Christmas?
both have like
Home Alone takes
Alone
place
scenes.
during Christmas.
Yeah, but
And
this takes as a large scene during Christmas.
I always think about this as a Halloween movie.
I always
What?
think Christmas. Yeah.
Because they have the
That's
troll and the
definitely-
Halloween and the
Also, I
floating
think
pumpkins.
it came out. When did it come out?
It probably came out.
2001 November.
November. Close enough to Christmas. There you
Kevin,
go.
your
right,
drink's running out. Do you want to refill it in your Slytherin cup over there?
I don't have a Slytherin cup.
Look, I like how you're wearing their own colors today. All red.
I'm not. All right, so I don't understand. I don't get it. He took his Pottermore test, and it's fine.
I want you to retest.
I
That's
just
fine.
showed you. No, I'm not gonna
Yeah,
retest.
bullshit. I know you photoshopped that.
I
See,
did
Andy, I trust.
Photoshop.
Andy wouldn't
This is
Photoshop
the
it.
website. They don't have an app, which is upsetting. What does it say?
It says Gryffindor.
Thank you.
It really does. But I mean, how did you get that? Did you retest?
No.
That's from how long ago? So you just logged in and it said Gryffindor? You took that test 15 years ago? You're a
I took the
goddamn
test a
fucking
while ago.
Slytherin thing
I
to do,
didn't take
bro.
the test when I was 11 like
I'm
my
just
kids
saying.
will.
That's fair. As well they should.
Yeah.
Moving on, of course, Harry is in a train car by himself, a compartment by himself, and who should wander in? The lovable dolt Ron. And he's like, oh, hey, Governor, there's no other seats. Can I hang out with you? And Harry's like, sure, you can hang out with me.
These are some proper ass little kids, man. Everything they say, I'm like, man, you're so fancy.
Isn't it lovely?
Them British kids, man.
Isn't it
Teach 'em
lovely?
right, you know?
And of course, Ron quickly figures out who he's sitting with and freaks the fuck out. And he's like, holy shit, you're Harry Potter, aren't you? And Harry's like, I am Harry Potter.
Bloody
and he's
hell,
like,
mate.
"Gee, can I see the scar?
In
And
it?
Harry's like, sure. And he's like, oh, it's cool. It's
That's such a cool little kid
love
moment
it.
of like, oh, is it true? You got
And
a
then,
scar?
and then Harry looks at Ron, and Ron looks at Harry, and they go, "Did we just become best friends?" And it is fucking great because they're best friends forever, and I
What
love
the
it.
fuck was he gonna eat? Like, what was in that?
It was like a
sandwich?
sandwich.
It was a sandwich that was destroyed, but it looked like it was just filled with pate.
Yeah.
Pate.
It
And
was
I
like
love
just
this.
wrapped up in
Maybe
saran
it was
wrap.
tuna. Maybe it was tuna.
Yeah.
But I love this because it could have come off like Harry was being like, oh, I can fucking take Harry, but it didn't. He was just literally like, oh, this kid's got a piece of shit sandwich that he's clearly not excited about, and the chocolate cart just came. And what is Harry gonna do? He's like, we'll take the lot. Give them all of us.
Sucks
So
for the kids in the like
Fuck
compartments
them.
further.
Fuck them.
Do you think
They
they
didn't
had
ask to see
another
the scar.
cart?
No, they can rematerial.
It's magic. They just go like
they
this.
just fucking
They just
candy
restock it.
caponis or whatever the fuck.
But he bought it all.
Candy caponis.
Candy Carponis. The old Candy Carponis smell just refills the jelly
Yeah,
bean
man.
jar. Of course, we get introduced to the chocolate frog, which has a card with Dumbledore in it. And I love it because he looks at it. He's like, who's Dumbledore? He's like, oh, he's one of the greatest wizards of all time. But I have like 3 of those cards. And then Harry looks back. He's like, he's gone. And Ron's like, well, you can't expect him to run around all day.
That's funny.
Like, he's got shit to do. And you're like, oh, okay. Like, that's cool. And then, of course, they introduce Birdie's every flavored, Birdie Bots every flavored beans. And by the way, they used to sell these things.
They
and
still do.
I did get a vomit one time. And it
Did
was
you
horrible.
really?
Oh, yeah. They have bad ones in there.
Yeah, they have really bad ones.
Earwax and
That's not-
vomit.
Don't
And
fuck
they
with
taste
this.
like fucking vomit. It's gross.
Yeah.
They went hard, just like Harry Potter does.
Yeah. You can actually get them
Oh,
at Stonestown.
Can you? We should
Right.
get some after this.
Well, let's do it. I'm in.
Chloe, get us some Birdie Bots.
You don't have to do anything.
No, you're fine. Just give Kevin another Swedish fish. And then, of course, Ron introduces him to Scabbards, who is his piece of shit little rat. and we hate this fucker for a lot of reasons. It doesn't matter.
God, such a piece of
Ron goes,
shit.
hey, my brother taught me how to like do a spell on him to turn him yellow. Do you want to see it? And Harry's like, yeah, dude, I want to see everything. Like, we're best friends now. I support you even though you can't do fucking magic to save your life. You're such a little piece of shit, Ron. And I'm going to be fucking backpacking you the rest of my life.
You're gonna
It's
flunk
buddy.
out of this
Jump on
school
it.
in 2 years.
Yeah, if it wasn't for me and Hermione, you would have been fucking no one. Just remember that, you piece of shit.
It's so weird how all the little kids are doing spells and like they're all like weird rhymes and shit.
Yeah.
And it's like, are you fucking dumb? Have you never heard anyone do a spell?
Yeah.
None of them are dumbass rhymes.
But that's why I love it, because the next character we see, of course, is Hermione, who walks in and she's like, hey, have you guys seen a toad? A boy named Neville has lost one. And then she looks over and says, oh, you doing magic? Let's see it then.
So cool.
Just knowing fully well
kid,
that whatever this kid's doing,
It's
he
not gonna
doesn't
work.
have the stuff.
Her hair is so impossibly big.
Yeah.
But I'll tell you this, and I mean this in the
So many
most
secrets.
I think she this character's awesome. She nailed this. She nailed this.
Nailed it.
She sees it. He does it. This thing goes bad. It pops. It almost kills the rat or whatever. And she's like, "Well, you're an idiot." And she goes, "You guys." He's like, "Well, you do some magic then." She's like, "Well, I only know simple stuff. Actual useful stuff." And she fixes Harry's glasses. And then as she's leaving, just to fuck with Ron one more time, she's like, "You got a little dirt on your nose, just there."
Weird that that was a scene.
Yeah, I
Like,
didn't
why
get
did
that.
he? How did he get dirt on his face?
Because he's a grubby
why
little bastard.
is she being like?
He's a grubby little
I don't think that
bastard.
what she did was like douchey. Like, oh, you have dirt in your face.
No.
Weird that Harry didn't say shit.
It was just. I just wish it was there the whole time.
Yeah.
But it's but I like it because it's indicative of her being a little bit not she doesn't really know how to act either. Like all these kids are just figuring out because they're kids. They're 11. They're not socialized. They haven't really been around all this stuff for a long time. And Hermione, of course, is an outlier in this, as is Harry, which is what forms their friendship. Let's see. Before
Before we move on,
yeah.
back to the
ready?
plot.
Okay.
Yeah.
Also, by the way, next time we do plot, it has to be plot. Greg sucks. That's
He's
it.
right. That's what it has to be.
Okay.
Plot. Greg sucks. He's listening back there. I just wanted him to know.
Oh, okay.
You suck so bad,
Is this
Greg.
nuts?
Oh yeah, he listens to everything we do.
He's
Just-
crazy.
Well, I think it's honestly just because
why I love
every
him.
now and then we talk about him, and he likes to be included.
In the loop, yeah.
He likes to be in the loop. Of course, the train comes and docks at his train dock pulls in to Hodgemeade Station. We don't see a
Is
lot
it
of.
called docking when a train pulls in?
Nah, I
No,
think
it pulls in, right?
pulls in, right?
Yeah.
I don't think it docks. I was off on that one. And who's there to meet them? Of course, Hagrid's there. And he's like, everyone get in the boats.
First years.
We have first years get in the boats. And I love that they're like, by the way, everyone else just gets to fucking go over on
The carriages
The
that,
carriages. But the first years have to get the boat because we want you to know how scary and awesome Hogwarts Castle is. And the best way to do that is to have you traverse the Great Lake, which, by the way, is another terrifying. This castle is surrounded by terrifying things.
All to
The
protect
Great Lake
Forbidden
and the
forest.
Dark Forest.
The Dark Forest.
Are fucking terrifying, and they're like everyone's forbidden to go in there because they'll kill you.
Yeah,
There's
we
giant
could, we
centaurs
could take
that'll
you over
kill
there like on a magic carpet or something, but we'd
Or
rather
if you get detention, you know
we'd
what I
rather
mean?
you raft.
Of course, this is where we also get introduced to Neville Longbottom, who is a character that pops up a bunch of times in this movie. And I love the little touch also that no one's rowing the boats. The boats are just rowing themselves.
yeah,
And we're
man.
going
It's
across, and we
magic,
see
baby.
Hogwarts Castle for the first time, and it is majestic. The children enter Hogwarts, and they're greeted by Professor McGonagall, who tells them that they're about to be sorted into all of 4 houses, and those 4 houses are Gryffindor. Well, I don't have a thing for Gryffindor. We'll just do this. Gryffindor. Ravenclaw. Hufflepuff. Oh! And then, of course,
You nailed it.
and then, of course, Slytherin. There it is. And this is, of course, also where we meet that other lovable piece of shit that just
God, I hate this kid
horrible
so
human
much.
being, Draco Malfoy, who
Oh, yeah.
who I forgot actually tries to make buddy with Harry Potter and recruit him as one of his
In the
cronies.
most dickish way.
Yeah, he's like basically, I don't even know. I don't need to know who the fuck you are. I can tell by your dumb shit. Red hair and your hand-me-down robes. You must be a Weasley. You piece of shit.
Damn, dude.
This kid is great at insulting
Fierce.
people. He fucking nailed it.
Yeah, man.
Offers his hand to Harry, and he was like, "You don't want to." He's like, "Why don't you come hang out with me? You don't want to fall in with the wrong sorts." And Harry, proving once again that he has the mettle, is like, "I think I know the wrong sorts when I see him."
Because he
And
looks
was like this.
over at Draco, this snake-looking motherfucker. And he looks at his shitty-ass friends, and you're
Yeah.
like, you know those are some punk-ass kids,
those
dude.
are the kids that are like legitimately going to be like die of drug abuse.
Yeah.
in
like,
about
what
a
are their
year.
their names? Toad?
Crab and Goyle.
Crab and Goyle. Great,
Yeah.
even worse.
They're fucking
joke.
They're bulk and scullied.
Yeah, like,
Legit, one of them did get arrested in real life for having
Yeah.
drugs or something.
Exactly. Good casting.
Again, like these kid actors, you can't hate on them too much, but I just don't. I've never liked the direction of Draco. He's just too Disney Channel cartoony for me.
He gets a little
That's
wonky.
the kind of person he is, though.
Yeah, I just Potter. Like it's just like it's so like
but, like you can
it's
tell.
such a caricature.
It's that like when he goes
I
for
can see that.
detention and he's like, "We're doing servants work." It's like, "Oh, you piece of
He's
shit."
a little entitled piece of shit.
Yeah.
yeah.
We move forward, of course, into what? The Great Hall. That's right. And this, I fucking love this place, man. I want to eat
cool.
there so bad, especially when the feast comes up. And I was like,
Alexis's wedding. was
It was nice.
You know,
I
it was
appreciated
themed after that, and they
It had
nailed it.
floating
I feel
candles.
like, yeah.
And this is where we meet Albus Dumbledore, who has a couple announcements before the sorting ceremony begins. The first announcement, of course, is Dumbledore tells the first years of the Dark Forest is off limits to everyone. No one can go in the Dark Forest. Also, the third floor corridor on the right side is out of bounds to anyone who does not wish to
kill
die a
you.
most painful death. All right, let's move on. And everyone except for Harry's like, yeah, okay, that makes sense. And Harry's like, what the fuck? Okay, cool. Sorting hat time, baby. Who's up first? Hermione. That's right. She gets Gryffindor. Natch. She's Gryffindor through and through. Unlike Kevin. Draco Malfoy gets up first, and I love this touch because the sorting hat doesn't even get close to
It's
it.
just
Slytherin. Yeah.
Fuck
And he's
yeah.
like, yeah, okay, cool. And everyone cheers because they know they want the Malfoys to be a Slytherin, of course. Ron gets up. Or actually, I think Harry looks over and over at Snape. Of course, every time Snape's there, Quirrell's also there, and his scar hurts, and he's like, oh, what the fuck's going on there? And Snape just a dick. Snape's like, oh, I'm going to...
Snape looks like he's horny.
Played, of course, by Alan Rickman.
No.
I'm gonna
Does it
need
look
you
horny?
to dive a little
Yeah,
deeper
what,
into this, Andy.
I'm just saying, like,
Snape looks
Like,
like,
horny
he
for
wants
what?
to kill him.
it looks like when they're in a room together and he sees Harry, he's like,
no,
like he does this weird thing. I don't like it. I fucking hate
you're
it.
misreading that.
No, man.
You think he's thirsty?
No, I know
For
he's
an
not
underage
thirsty. I've
kid?
seen
Guys,
the movies,
chill out,
but it's just the reaction of like,
He's going to Kevin
He is,
Spacey?
he is very like.
very like.
All right, let's move
I
on
hate
from
it.
that.
I hate it.
Ron gets up and gets Gryffindor, and everyone's like, "Oh, great, yay, we got Ron and Gryffindor."
We got Ron.
What just a dead weight that we're gonna have to run around with. I'm joking around. And then
He's
it's
gonna be Ron's gonna be the Hawkeye of this series. He's fucking moron.
Ron does suck. We'll get more into that later.
He's good comic relief. He's a good all around
not.
pal. He's
Sucks.
fodder for every other.
He's
dark
such a
spot.
like.
Of course, we've talked about Slytherin a little bit here. He's like, "What the hell, is Slytherin?" And like, Slytherin's just like I think someone set it up where like one of the kids is like,
it was
"There's
Ollivander.
never was it Ollivander?
Yeah.
He's like, never a good wizard's never come out." Some kid says at some point
Ron
that-
says it too.
Ron
You're
says
right,
it,
my
yeah.
bad, my bad.
No one good's ever come out of Slytherin. They're basically where all the dark wizards come from. They're a piece of shits and like they're thugs and criminals and all that stuff. So Harry, of course, naturally is like, "I don't want."
You think they would just shut down that whole house?
You think so?
From all you know from this movie, doesn't seem advisable to keep this institution in place.
Yeah.
But again, that's why the wizarding. They're it's gray
Not
area.
all, it's such a small
seem
percentage.
gray. Well,
such
I don't
a
think-
small percentage to go bad.
I don't think Slytherin, like the actual person the house is named after, I don't think he was bad
yeah, he
necessarily.
was. He was terrible.
Yeah.
Was he terrible?
Yeah,
Yes.
he's real terrible. Super racist.
Was he?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Wizard racist. So it's more, you know, okay.
Gotcha.
Yeah. Oh, the wizarding world is, they're full of left and right.
How do you feel
move on.
though, as Slytherin, like as fellow Slytherin, to be in the crowd? Not fellow, I guess, but to be watching Harry go, "Not Slytherin, please, not Slytherin."
Yeah.
How do you feel as them to be like, "Well, fuck you, dude. We don't want you with us either." Like,
Oh, it
fuck
would
off.
sucked if he got picked.
Yeah.
But I love that because the hat's like interesting. Like, are you sure you don't want Slytherin? Because you could do great things in Slytherin. They could help you do great things.
I love that. Yeah, it's really cool.
And it's cool.
I get the feeling that no one can hear this interaction.
I assume
But
as much.
it
In
seems
the
like they're
book-
25 feet away.
Yeah, and also in the book, he's doing it in his head, and
Yeah.
the hat can like hear
Talk
his
to him,
thoughts
yeah.
and shit.
Yeah.
That would have been better.
Yeah.
Harder to see, but
Yeah, I
Yeah,
feel like it
he's-
would have been confusing and people are dumb.
Not Slytherin. It's like, oh, not Slytherin, huh? You hear that, Slytherin?
He doesn't like you.
Feel free to pull a fucking Full Metal Jacket on this kid when he's out there beat the shit out of him with soap bars in a sock.
What's that song?
It's the Wicked Witch of the West! It's me, Professor McGonagall, as you know! I am famous in this movie!
She's transfigured herself
I
into
am
a...
famous in this movie for giving out points to each and every house based on their performance. And that's why here in Harry Potter in Review, I will give out points based on the performance of each of you, my precious wizards that I love so much. I will transfigure myself into your house later, Andy. Now, who will get the points today based on their performance? I am Professor McGonagall. The answer is, of course, 15 points to Ravenclaw! Andy gets these points based on the fact that he won't let Kevin Dursley forget that he is in fact Slytherin.
Yes.
You are a Slytherin boy, or you are a muggle. It is your choice. You slithering piece of shit! We hope you get hit by a bus! Goodbye, children!
Ladies and gentlemen, Professor McGonagall.
What is wrong with that
believe we
man?
got
I know I dropped it.
Crazy.
God, what is wrong with him?
Man, I really
Explain what we saw.
I really wanted to photograph Porty looking up terrified at his father. So confused.
Dude, he came over and yelled.
He just
full
stood
blown
right
into your
Porty
ear.
just stood there and was like, what is happening right now?
What's amazing is as I was reading the plot and fully immersed in my own amazing preparation for this
nailed it,
show,
dude. You nailed it.
I looked over and I saw Porty, and then I looked away, and then I looked over and I saw Greg, and I was like, did he just transfigure from Porty? Like we be Porty? in
That
real
is
life?
another question I had.
Yeah.
Is Professor McGonagall going to transfigure into your house?
No.
That's not.
I forgot to lay out the rules. This is a reoccurring bit. Everyone keep the points added up. There'll be a winner at the end of the term, won't there, Dursley? Huh? You Slytherin bitch.
Get out of here.
I think what Greg doesn't, Professor McGonagall doesn't know.
Again, there's Porty. I just see Porty walking away.
Professor McGonagall's giving out points already, but we're like a third of the way through the movie.
Yeah, we're not even.
That's fine. I think Greg had other shit to move on to. He's got a call or something. I'll try to speed this up, guys. Sorry. Of course, the feast begins, and Harry asks about Snape. Okay. Here we go. Yeah.
I forgot. I was also going to ask what your children want for lunch, because this is running very long.
We should order lunch, probably.
Yeah, I'm done.
Pizza?
How about pizza and meatballs? Can we do the meatballs like?
Can we get some wings too? Can we get some wings?
We can, Dursley! You Slytherin coward!
I hate him.
The thing is, he's mixing so many different things in here.
I just don't understand why
I don't mind it
they
at all.
have to defend me
He's
so much.
Fucking spot on.
Like you're calling
He's
me one of the
spot
worst
on.
characters, granted, not his fault.
Holy shit.
In a
I
shitty
love
house
it.
that I don't like.
All right.
I love it. Moving right along, we get introduced to Snake, who is the professor of potions. But Quirrell is and then Quirrell next to him you've already met, who is the defense against the dark arts teacher. But it's well known that Snape has wanted that job forever, and so Snake relegated to potions. Will he ever get it? You'll have to keep watching to find out. And then we get introduced to Nearly Headless Nick and some of the other ghosts, played by John Cleese.
Horrifying.
Yeah.
Who's awesome. And again,
Why they call him nearly? And
it's
then the
terrifying.
question's like, holy crap.
love it.
That was Hermione being a dick.
That's some
again,
Sixth
right?
Sense shit right there, dude.
Yeah.
Next up, of course, they asked the house prefects to take their the first years to their dormitories. Percy, of course, Ron's brother, is the house prefect for this year.
Interesting they didn't make a big deal of it, like that was his brother.
They talk about it in the book a lot. I think
Yeah,
that's one of
no,
those.
yeah,
That's
it's
one of
true.
those things that they don't talk about.
well,
so
she's
much.
the mom's super proud.
Yeah, because everyone in the Weasley household very competent, except for that fuckwit Ron.
And that's why Ron gets the
And Ginny.
rat.
Dumbass
Because
leftover.
that was his gift. Like they got him an owl.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah.
They walk into the room with all the staircases, and
Morty.
he's like, "Watch out for the staircases. They'd have a tendency to change on you." Bort.
I'm scared. Like that's a dangerous place
I'm just-
for him to be.
I'm just scared that
Looks
it's a
like
little
he's
highly
he's gonna turn into one of those skeletons, like.
He's just stuck there.
BBs.
Yeah.
got
Sorry
too
about
deep.
that. Sorry.
It's a good call.
Speaking of that room,
yeah.
the last little fact that I have is only one of the moving staircases in Hogwarts was functional, and the rest of them were digitally created. But one of them was real.
No,
That's awesome.
Yeah, it's the one we see later, I'm sure. Also, these staircases wildly dangerous because they like come to land on certain spots that are open.
Yeah.
But when they're not there, it's just
you
an open
walk up.
spot. Yeah.
Again, Hogwarts, they don't fuck around. They don't care if kids die.
It's evolution, man.
Yeah.
Like it really is. It's survival of the fittest. If you're dumb enough to fall off a staircase, you don't belong there. It's one of 4 universities.
So
Go back to
Hogwarts
DeVry.
apparently didn't used to have any plumbing.
Oh, I heard about.
No,
I
we don't
remember
talk
this.
about that. We don't talk
Yeah,
about that.
apparently
this.
all these kids
No.
used to shit their pants and just magic it away.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Why
No, it's
J.K.
not.
Rowling decided to add this fun little fact? Nobody knows.
Builds the
Bored.
world.
She's just bored.
Yeah,
at
she's
us.
bored.
Wait, was this a retroactive thing? Like,
Yeah.
Yeah,
it was
'cause
like
that's
6
what
months ago.
Pottermore is basically for her to like add weird facts
Retcon
every
facts.
Which is
Yeah.
really
Love
cool
it.
sometimes. And
Most
you
of the
delete
time,
shit
not.
all,
It's like, hey,
randomly.
JK, I get that you want to
Yeah.
still dip your toe in this world. How about write another fucking book?
Yeah, write another
Like,
goddamn book.
also, the horse centaur in the forest, we used to fuck all the time.
we used to
Also,
fuck.
you would think his dick was huge. No, medium size.
Okay.
Medium size. He has a normal guy dick.
All right.
Centaur
didn't get the horse part there.
Let's keep
Crazy.
moving.
He's kind of sad about it because everyone else has fucking giant hogs.
Jesus
Okay.
fucking
We get up
Christ.
to the, of course, the painting that asks for the password. And of course, you need a password to enter the Gryffindor common room. I cannot remember what the password was, and I did not write it down. Parrot, do you remember?
Doesn't matter.
Fuck no, it was something really complicated
it was
and
Okay.
weird.
And then, we see it. This is the common room. Girls are up to the right, boys are up to the left. What could possibly go wrong with this setup? Where they're meeting by the fireplace and banging it out, maybe a little bit.
In the book, the boy students are not allowed to go up to the girls' dormitory. They get bounced back and shit.
No,
but can
doesn't
they
it turn
bang in
into
the
a
common room?
slide?
Oh, that's what it does.
And they slip down?
Yeah.
Very few
that
people are banging at 11. Maybe a hand.
No, but this is where
But
all
no,
the kids are.
they all there.
So
Oh,
the
shit.
11-year-olds and the 17-year-olds
So
share a room.
Danger.
And the 17-year-olds are just down there
But I mean,
exploring. That's all I'll say.
Jesus Christ. She has said that about the Hufflepuff stuff.
Yep. And this is where we get that great moment that I was talking about, right? So everything is settled, it's late, and Harry is just sitting in the windowsill staring out at the Great Lake and just taking in the fact that his life has changed dramatically for the better, you would assume. And it's great. I love these moments. I love that the director we're like, it's a long movie, but we're going to take a couple seconds to just catch up with where Harry is mentally. And it's beautiful. The next day, of course, Ron and Harry they're late to Professor McGonagall's transfiguration class, and they're like, oh good, she's not here, not realizing what a fucking transfiguration class is. And she's of course there. She's the cat that's sitting there, and she just gives them the what for.
I love Ron's response to be like, that was wicked.
Yeah.
She's like, yeah, thanks for your assessment.
Yeah, she's like, I know, I'm a bad motherfucker, and am I gonna excel at Hogwarts maybe later? Yeah, maybe I will. Who cares? Well, no future spoilers. Next up, potions class. Snape. Alan Rickman's fucking awesome.
So cool.
He's so awesome.
But also
in this.
such a fucking dick.
Yeah, but that's why he's
Quit
perfect.
being a dick.
And R.I.P. Alan Rickman.
Looks like Fame won't get champion.
Yeah, I love that.
And Harry Potter, meanwhile, was like, I just got here, bro.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know anything.
I literally 2 weeks
What's that?
ago, I had no idea you guys existed.
Yeah.
This sucks.
He finishes out the series.
Okay,
before he
cool.
died. Yeah, I think he died shortly after the 8th movie was made. If I'm not mistaken, right?
I think it was a little while after.
No,
right?
it was a little while afterwards.
Was it? Yeah.
Let's see.
It doesn't matter.
He was he died in 2016.
Okay, yeah, so it was way after then. And so begins the Snape Potter relationship. Snape immediately starts getting her shit. Of course, Harry's just taking notes on what Snape's saying, but Snape doesn't give a fuck because he's like, everyone else is paying attention.
Yeah,
and
it was weird.
you don't need to be taking notes here at this point. I'm not actually giving you information, you dumb shit kid. And then quizzes him a bunch. And what I love about the scene is that Harry's like, I have no idea what's going on, but Hermione is just right next to her,
Ripping
like
her arm
trying to
off.
get her hand higher because she knows the answer to this. Not, of course, again, not realizing the point is that he's trying to make Harry into the fool, not that he's actually asking the questions, but Hermione's like, any chance I get to excel, I'm taking it. And I love that little bit of character development. Next up, it's mail time, ladies and gentlemen. They're at the Great Hall, and Owls start dropping packages all over the place. Neville gets, of course, the Remembrall. And, of course, the problem with the Remembrall is that it'll remind you that you've forgotten something because I can never remember what I forgot. Neville's adorable and stupid, and he belongs on the same bus as fucking Ron because they're both just idiots.
Calm down.
Harry reads an article in the Daily Prophet about Vault 713 being broken into, but nothing was stolen as the vault had been emptied earlier that day. Of course, Harry knows that for a fact because Harry was there that day and saw it being emptied. He's like, oh, that's crazy. Next up, flying class with Madam Hooch. Hooch.
With
What? What are you gonna
crazy
say?
eyes. Who's got some crazy eyes?
Who's got
cat
them
eyes.
crazy
Yeah.
eyes?
It's weird how much she's in this movie, and then I don't remember her being in any other movies.
I think she's like in it for like half a second. The other one, maybe one other movie,
Right.
maybe two. Go ahead.
No, go for it.
No, that was it. I was just thinking to myself.
Hooch. The idea, of course, is that Harry and we're flying classes. She says, walk over to your broom, put your hand over it and say up. And Harry says up, and it immediately snatches to his hand. Hermione, of course, this is the one thing she gets frustrated with because she can't make this work. Ron gets it on the second or third try, and you're like, oh, okay, these guys have some different and
this is
limited
cool.
abilities. Yeah. Neville gets on his broom and can't control it, and he goes freaking nuts. Gets speared on the top of a statue and then falls down.
She also acts like mad at him, like he's doing it, and it's like this kid is freaking the fuck out. She
Like, get down here
She
now.
also
And it's like,
prepares to like take him down, and then last minute dives out. It's like, why didn't you just knock
help
him down?
He
Right.
fucking fell.
Like, you could have done
30
something.
feet.
Yeah. No attempt to slow his fall down either.
Only broke her wrist. It's fine.
Yeah. But damn, it was broken.
Yeah.
Oh, he fucking snapped that thing. Of course, Madam Hooch takes him over. She's like, well, I got to go to the hospital. Everyone else, I guess, just sit
Don't fly.
with these amazing riding machines and don't get on top of them. And of course, what does Malfoy immediately do? Grabs the Remembrall, gets on top, and he's like, stupid kid, Neville must have forgotten how to fly or whatever the fuck. He just gives a shitty little line. Harry's like, give that back. And Malfoy's like, make me. And does this like, he flies away as he's like half riding the broom and it just kind of skips
it
across
looks
her
so
head.
cool.
I'm like, damn, dude, you got some lessons ahead of you. You got a little lessons in your background there. Harry jumps on and is like, fuck you, dude. I'm coming after you. And despite not knowing how to fly, just takes to it like a fish in water and starts chasing after him. Malfoy freaks out and is like, okay, fuck it. Throws the Remembrall. And here he goes, just speeds toward the window that leads to Professor McGonagall's office, grabs it right at the last minute, does a little cool juke move, like flips around, and then comes back down to all the kids applauding him. He lands, of course, and who's there? Professor McGonagall's like, come with me. And you think he's in hot water.
Yeah.
And of course, important to note here, and this is something that is, again, a morally ambiguous aspect of Hogwarts. Professor McGonagall, in addition to being the head, the teacher of Transfiguration, is also the head of Gryffindor House. Okay, so all the professors, Snape is the head of Slytherin House. I forget who Hufflepuff and Ravenclaw's
Nobody
heads
cares.
are, but it doesn't fucking matter.
I think it's the cook, right, for Hufflepuff?
The cook, I'm just the cook. I'm just the cook.
Oh no, it's the
All
herbology.
of our
It doesn't matter.
reviews turned into the exact same thing. The same jokes.
And
what
so,
the kids love.
and so it's one of those things where you're like, this might be a conflict of interest.
Little
Because
conflict, yeah,
you
that's
just
not-
saw
I-
Harry
nah, that's
do
not good.
something bad, but she knocks on the door, pulls another student out of Potions class, out of Snape's class, and was like, "Fuck you, Snape! I gotta talk to this kid."
Quirrell.
Oh, it's Quirrell.
I thought
Pulls him
she
out.
needed like piles of wood.
Also, wait, for a second, let's talk
She's like,
about
I need wood. Is what she said.
Quirrell, like his
What?
class, like as they're walking, there's this giant, like, sounds like a goddamn dinosaur making
Yeah.
a noise, and he's just holding an iguana. Yeah, I love it. And it cuts back, and then the dinosaur noise comes back. Weird. Iguanas, are they magical?
Of course, she pulls Oliver Wood out of class and is like, "Mr. Wood, I'd like to introduce you to Mr. Potter. Oliver is the head of our Quidditch team, and I've just found you your seeker for this year." And you're like, "Oh, he's not in trouble. If he's actually getting, because of his misdeeds, he's getting elevated in the community now because now he's on the coveted, he has a
first
coveted
ever-
spot as the first
First
ever
year.
11-year-old."
She's like, Harry, I've got a lot of money on this season.
Yeah.
Like, I have
You
a
don't
lot of
understand.
money.
Snape has been winning everything
Yeah.
for so long. But they say it was like going to be like 7 years of Slytherin winning the house.
What a
Domination.
dynasty.
And it's just like, she's sick of it, dude.
Yeah, she's
You
Patriots
know
over
Snake
here.
is like rubbing in all their faces super subtly. Oh, I hate
Bill
him.
Belichick is totally a Slytherin. That's totally a dynasty.
totally.
Yeah.
It's established also that Fred and George are on the team as well. They're beaters. Everyone's freaking out. Everyone's like, "This is a big deal, Harry," including Hermione, who's like, "You don't understand how big of a deal this is because you're not the only Potter to ever be a Seeker." And she takes him over to like the case, and we see, of course, that James Potter was the Seeker for his year, and they won the
his
Quidditch
dad.
Cup, and that's his dad, which is cool. Why?
That was his brother. Oh, yeah.
No, why they would still have that from like 30 years ago in the trophy case? Beyond me, but whatever. You think that
He
other
broke some
other
records
things-
that year, maybe.
Maybe. Who knows? Who knows?
Record-setting year.
As they head back to the common room, the staircase takes them to the third floor. They get caught by Filch's cat, so they run toward a locked door. Of course, Hermione, proving that she has quick wit, uses Alohomora, which is a standard book from the standard book of spells, page 7, to open up the door. They walk in, and what are they flying? Fluffy, who is a terrifyingly poorly animated, three-headed dog.
Cerebus.
Yeah, very, very bad. Let's see. When they get back, they run out, and of course, Hermione mentions that she noticed the guard. She's like, they're like, "Why would they keep that thing there?" She's like, "You guys need to use your eyes more. Like, did you not see that it was guarding something? It was sitting over a trap door. It's clearly guarding something." And they're like, "No, we didn't use our eyes. We were terrified, and I shit myself," said Ron. which to which
that
everyone
made it
replied,
disappear.
Yeah. Ooh, Alohomora. I just unlocked my bowels. That's where it is. And then, of course, Hermione's like, "I'm going to bed before y'all come up with another plan to get us killed or worse, expelled."
I love that line. It's so funny.
To which they're like, Ron has a great
Yeah.
little drop, and he was like, "She's got to get her priorities straight, man." That's great. Now it's Quidditch practice, and Oliver lays out the rules. There's chasers, there's beaters, there's a quaffle, there's a bludger. It doesn't really matter because all that matters really is that you catch the golden snitch before the other team gets more points and catches the golden snitch. The golden snitch, of course, for Quidditch rules, gives you 150 points and ends the game. So strategically, you don't want to catch it if you're down, right? Or no, if you're down by. If it's 0 to 160 and you catch the snitch, you still
You've
lose.
lost, yeah.
So you still have to be up in points and then catch the
It
snitch.
doesn't
to end.
matter.
It doesn't really.
The movies go so light on Quidditch.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But those are the general rules.
Yeah.
Of course, Harry, you don't have to worry. Just watch out for balls that are flying at your face, and catch the snitch, and we win. That's all you got to know.
The noises the bludgers make,
Terrifying. Really
Yeah.
scary.
In spells class, they practice Wingardium Leviosa. This is Flitwick's class, right, Barrett?
Yes.
And of course, Ron sucks again at this. Hermione does it. Hermione does it perfectly. And then just a quick, I have a note here. Just shout out to Warwick Davis, who plays Professor Flitwick.
And you said, who gives a fuck about the other teachers in charge? Flitwick is in charge of Ravenclaw.
Yeah,
so give some
Professor
respect
Flitwick.
to Warwick
Show
Davis.
your respect, Andy.
What did I say?
I'm just saying, man. Fucking
He's trying to backtrack.
show
and
your respect.
Trying to pretend he showed his respect.
Let's see. Halloween time. I love it because we're skipping around here. We're in Halloween time. We've got a couple months under the belt. Instead of candles, it's flying pumpkins in the Great Hall, and there's just an amazing feast. That again, you think you can make the feast disappear from your stomach so you don't gain weight, like some sort of
that
wizard
would be
bulimia.
incredible.
That'd be awesome.
No.
Just like, oh God, I can eat more. Isn't this great? Just then, of course, Harry's
where
asked.
does all the mashed food go?
Harry, of course, they had a little bit of a run in Transfiguration class where Ron was like, Hermione's just a fucking nightmare. She's always such a know-it-all. Oh, look at me, it's Wingardium Leviosa, not Leviosa. And of course she heard and ran away and crying. And it's like, fuck Ron, can you do nothing right? Like, you can't even talk shit about people. You
She was
stupid,
trying to help you, dude.
stupid little redheaded match. Just light yourself on fire and run away for Christ's sake.
Oh shit! I didn't realize Griffhook was Vern Troyer.
What?
Yeah.
In the because for some reason I thought Warwick Davis was Griffhook or what the fuck is his
Griffhook,
name?
yeah.
From the bank. It was Vern Troyer.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yep.
That's cool. Harry asks about where Hermione is, and Ron's like, well, she's been crying in the bathroom all day, and because I was a dick. And then, of course, Quirrell comes in and announces troll in the dungeon, and he's very, very excited about this, and he goes, just thought you should know. And then he passes out because he's just a little scaredy cat.
Didn't like that.
What's that?
It's like I'm like, what the fuck world are we in right now? That was too cartoony for me.
I feel like he's been cartoony the whole time.
A little
With the
cartoony.
Yeah, but
stuttering
walking in
and
literally, it's like, nah,
Passes
bro.
out. Of course, everyone starts freaking out, and they get control. And McGonagall says, "Prefects, take the kids back to the dorms." Harry and Ron, of course, lay back because they're like, "What about Hermione, man? She doesn't know about this. And if that troll gets to her in the women's bathroom, like it ain't gonna go good. We got to go save our friend." And that's awesome. Of course, just then they see the shadow come around the corner, and the troll is in fact headed. Why? The women's bathroom.
Convenience.
Just convenience for the story plot. That's fine. I don't mind.
Creep. That's funny.
He's a little
Fucking
creepy.
creep.
He's
Real
creeping
funny.
on it.
You know what I mean?
Creeping on the 11-year-olds. Walks into the bathroom. Of course, Hermione's there crying. She walks out, sees the troll, runs back into the stall, and the troll just fucking swipes and just takes out half the stalls
Horrifying.
with her. Harry and Ron run in, and they're like, shit, what are we supposed to do? Let's see. Harry goes, fuck, I don't know what to do because I don't really know any spells, and I'm kind of actually pretty not a good wizard, despite the fact that everyone tells me I'm a good wizard. So I'm just going
I'm
to
gonna
jump.
fucking mount the thing.
I'm going to mount the thing and shove my wand up its nose.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What the hell was your battle plan
So
there?
dumb.
None. He just
He had
was.
so many more options that he could have done.
You could just grab him.
Listen.
just fucking crushed him.
This is where we're going to get real for a second. Okay.
Finally.
There are multiple moments in this story, and I know that these are young children, so I will tread lightly on this. But there is a chemistry here that is undeniable between Harry and Hermione. Is all I'll say.
Stop saying
How are
your
you
name that
saying?
way.
Yeah.
Is all I'll say.
Hermione?
You know it's not said
it
that
is,
way.
It is friendship, but there might be a little something. I'm not talking now. I'm just saying you would assume that it would develop later into a romantic style love.
Some-
Especially when
I'm not
Harry's
gonna
like,
hear
I'm willing
sometimes-
to risk my life to shove my thing up a troll's nose just to save your life. Meanwhile, Ron's back there like, I didn't tie my shoes. course, Ron.
Sometimes friends are just friends, man.
Yeah, man.
And
not-
sometimes the bond of friendship is very strong.
Yes.
And fools are like, ooh,
Rush in.
they have to
and
be in
sometimes
love.
you're on the road to a perfect place and you go, we'll just pull off over to this other area that makes no sense. I digress. We're all on the shit, and now it's Ron. You gotta do something, man.
something,
You gotta
man.
do something.
you gotta be useful.
You gotta
bro.
be useful once, and he goes, okay, I gotta use the Wingardium Leviosa spell, and Hermione looks at him, and she's like, maybe it's just a flip of the wrist. I'm here with you, and this is when we're like, oh, this is the fucking wrecking team, because if he can just figure this out, they're gonna be gel.
Yeah.
And he
It's
goes,
like Happy
Wingardium-
Gilmore learning how to putt.
Exactly.
Oh, shit, that was a big
Just
moment.
go to your home. What is too good for your
Go to
home?
your home, ball.
Of course, he Wingardium Leviosa's, and the club comes out of the troll's hand. Troll looks up, club bounces him right on the fucking head, knocks him out, and Ron
And
realizes
he just kind of like waves his head, and then he grabs both of them and just smashes them all
eats their
together.
fucking heads. That, of course, right as Professor McGonagall and Snape come in, and for no reason really, Hermione takes the rap.
I
Yeah,
didn't
being
understand
like-
any
Tell
of
the
this.
truth. I was in here crying,
Yeah.
or I was in here taking a shit. And but there's no reason to be
Yeah,
like,
exactly.
I thought I could defeat it.
Can you
And-
imagine if they walk in, she goes, "What? I was taking a shit."
I was taking a dump. And the trolls started coming, and Harry and Ron were like, "Oh shit, Hermione's in the restroom. We gotta go save her."
Yeah,
Right.
that's
That's
it.
it.
So
That's
easy.
all I gotta
Would have been
say.
so easy.
But I think that the point was that she was like, I'm not only do I forgive Ron for being an asshole, but like I don't want
thankful.
these guys to get in trouble for helping me. And there's a miscommunication here, so I'm just gonna take the route for this. Unnecessary, but cool that she did it. Of course, Harry notices that Snape has a giant gash on his leg. Professor McGonagall gives the boys 5 points each for just sheer dumb luck. And Harry's like, well, yeah, for me, but Ron actually did something right for once. We should probably give him credit before he fucking devolves into depression for being just a fucking useless piece of shit. Next day, it's Quidditch time. Snape.
We're on movie 1, by the way.
Yeah. Speed it up just a bit.
Snape comes. It's Quidditch
He's an
time.
11-year-old boy.
I know. Sorry, guys. I'll speed. There's a lot of details here. Snape comes for a little dose of the old psychological warfare I've heard before, and it's just like talking shit to Harry. Of course, Harry hypothesizes that Snape let the troll in so he could sneak past the three-headed dog to get whatever the hell is down there, and the dog must have bitten him. Whatever Dumbledore has in that vault, the dog is hiding. Snake must want it. There's a little bit of leaps in logic here, but I buy it. Mail time, of course. Harry's gets delivered the Nimbus 2000. We don't know who gave it to him, but he looks over at Professor McGonagall, and again, proving that she might be like, I got a lot of money riding on this.
Exactly, dude.
She's like, I got you, big cat. Like, and I'm like, again, ethics. Should you buy your student a $1,000 broom just so he can go win for your house? Maybe.
It's straight up like college athletes, like, getting money under the table and shit.
I'll speed it along here a little bit. We go to the Quidditch game, of course. It starts. Everything's going good for Gryffindor a little bit until they start getting down. Oliver gets knocked out. They don't have a goalie, and now they're down on the points. Of course, Harry's broom starts going nuts. We don't know why. Hermione looks over and sees that Snape's doing something. She's like, oh, he must be putting a spell on him. And at this point, I'd be like, hey, McGonagall, look. Like, he's trying to kill Harry, but no one ever rats out the professors, and I respect that, because snitches get stitches. That's right. Of course, Hermione's like, I'll take care of this. Don't worry about it. Runs over, lights his robe on fire. It could have burned him absolutely to death. But of course, that interrupts the spell. Harry gets back on the broom, sees the snitch, goes for it. The Seeker on the other team goes for it, too. He's useless, though.
He was just going behind it, not reaching for it or anything. It looked like it was so
That
close
one
to
guy
him.
on Slytherin was just a terrible actor. Like,
Yeah, they're all bad.
Oh, yeah, that guy?
With the bad teeth.
Fucking weirdo.
Of course, they go into a nosedive to try to catch the snitch, and the Slytherin guy's like, "No, fuck this," and pulls out early. Harry pulls out right as he's about to hit the ground, and it's neck and neck with the snitch. He reaches out, takes one extra little step over his broom, like he surfs it. He's like surfing his broom. Takes one little extra step, and then tumbles, pops up, and they're like, "Oh no, he looks like he's gonna be sick, like he's gonna throw up." And of course, he barfs the snitch into his hand
Why?
because
That's just how he caught it, man.
I get that.
it's very indicative of.
But why?
But it's because it's very indicative of Harry,
Just keep watching
his
the movies,
character,
right?
where he just sort of.
He's willing to do anything.
He's willing to do anything, but also he's not the most competent person in the entire series. He kind of just like comes up gold.
he
Sometimes.
fails upward.
He fails upward a little bit, and he's got his friends around him to help him out. And it really is a team effort. You start to realize that later. But I like this because it's like he didn't mean to catch the fucking thing. He just did, and it's like cool. And
Well, he meant
they
to
win.
catch the thing. He just didn't mean to catch it in his
That
mouth.
way,
Yeah.
exactly.
Yeah.
They win. Awesome. It's fucking dope. Let me see where I'm at here. Snitches. The kids, of course. Sorry, I skipped ahead here. I'm sorry. They go over to Hagrid to tell him about Snake, and he's like, he got attacked by this dog, and Hagrid's like, who told you about Fluffy? Shit, probably shouldn't have told you that.
Love it.
This
Love
is the
it.
keys doing those lines.
God.
I shouldn't have said that. Snape's trying to steal it, and Hagrid's like, no, he's not trying to steal it. And then, but accidentally, in doing so, spills the beans about what Fluffy is guarding between him. He's like, whatever Fluffy's guarding, that is between Dumbledore and Nicholas Flamel. Shouldn't have said that. he's like, get out of here, you little fucking like mind readers. Get out of here. Christmas time, and man, I want to go to Hogwarts so bad during Christmas time. Ron and Harry are playing.
Christmas time.
Yeah, we're already Christmas. Ron and Harry are playing
Already?
wizard chess, and Ron is actually good at it, which is cool. Ron's family is going to Romania, so Ron is going to hang back with Harry, and it's cool. And it's like, fuck, man, that'd be cool if you and your best friend just got the run of this
sleepover,
castle,
yeah.
and you just hang out. Of course, there's still rules, but Hermione's like.
Quick
But like,
aside.
wouldn't it be cool if like they're just like, there's no rules. You guys can stay up
I
as
mean,
late
if
as you want.
only they had a way to go around the rules, you know?
Well-
Some way they couldn't be caught.
Exactly. Let's see. Harry gets his first ever Christmas present, an old item from his father before he died. No name on the note, just says use it well. We'll have to figure out who sent him that way later. Harry unwraps it, and of course, it is the Cloak of Invisibility, which is a very, very rare thing. And it's so cool that Ron's like, wow, that's super rare, but he's heard of it.
Yeah.
Like, it's not like, oh, this is a crazy thing. Like, they float around.
There are a bunch of, like, it's not like there's just one. Yeah.
Harry, of course, was like, cool, let's immediately use this cloak to sneak into the restricted area of the library, which Hermione told him he needed to go into to find any sort of thing they could possibly find on Nicholas Flamel. It's at this point that you're like, why wouldn't you just go to Dumbledore and be like, hey, we think this is what's happening? Because this whole thing could have been avoided if Dumbledore was like, oh, that's happening? Cool, I'll just go get the thing and get it the fuck out
Well,
of
no,
there.
because they would have gone and been like, it's Snape, and he would have been like, look, I
You're
know for a
crazy.
fact
Well, he
it's
would have
not
been like,
Snape.
it's not Snape. That's a good point.
I think it's a permission forgiveness later thing.
Yeah.
That's fair. Harry, of course, pulls a book that screams at him as he opens it.
Terrifying.
He throws it back in, but smashes a lantern, and Filch comes in with his cat, and he's like, I know you're in here. I'm going to fucking find you and kill you. I'm going to eat your face because I'm a psychopath. Harry sneaks past him where he goes into the corridor and sees Snape threatening Quirrell. And he's like, you don't want me as an enemy? And at this point, you're like, what the hell's going on
Yeah.
here? Like, Snape's threatening him. Maybe Quirrell called him out. We don't know.
Intrigue. I
Snape
liked it.
reaches out to nothing.
I think the immediate thought is like, oh, look, Flamel's working for him, and he's like, fucking do the job, bro. Like, Snape's getting
Don't
after
fuck with
him.
me.
Yeah.
So you don't know, but something bad's going on here. Of course, Harry runs into Filch's cat, and then Filch comes in and looks over and tries to like grab at him, and Harry runs away, and he hides in a room that has a giant mirror, and that mirror is the mirror of Erised. And he looks through it, and he sees his parents. And he's like, what the fuck is going on with this mirror? And he's like, and then it's really fucking sad because his mom puts her hand on his shoulder,
Yeah.
and he looks in real life, and it's not there.
Yeah.
And he's just staring at this thing, and it's heartbreaking. Of course, he's got to go. He immediately runs back to Ron, and he's like, dude, you got to come see this mirror. This mirror show, like, it's crazy. It's
magic
my
mirror.
parents own this mirror. We got to
Yeah.
figure out how to get this thing out. He goes, and Ron's like, I don't see anything. And then Harry like steps aside, and Ron's like, holy shit. I see myself as Quidditch captain, and I'm shaking hands with Dumbledore.
Do you think
and
it
I've just
tells the
won
future?
Quidditch.
It's like, how could it? My parents are dead.
parents
it's
are
like,
dead.
Fuck.
God damn, Harry.
Damn.
Shit, bro.
Also, Erised.
Well,
What?
he hasn't gotten to that part yet
What?
where he talks to Dumbledore.
Later.
Dumbledore doesn't. All right.
it doesn't matter. He doesn't. I don't think he explains it in this one.
It's desire.
Yes, he
It's-
does.
Yeah. Desire. Yeah, that's all it is.
Well, he doesn't. Well, okay, fine. Later, of course, Dumbledore finds Harry sitting in front of the mirror again, and Harry's like, what the hell is this thing? And he's like, listen, this thing shows you your deepest and most desperate desires of the heart. I like how he sets this up. He goes, let's just put it this way: a man who is the happiest person on the planet that wants for nothing would look into this mirror and only see himself.
Oh, so good.
But everyone else sees what they want, and he's like, listen, it's not real, and I need you to promise me. He's like, tomorrow morning I'm gonna move this thing, and I need you to promise to not go look for this
Well,
again.
I like that when that scene starts, he's like, here again.
Yeah,
It's just
he's
like,
he
oh,
knows.
yeah,
Dumbledore's-
he's been there a whole bunch.
Got
It does
cameras
not
all over
do
the
to
place.
dwell on dreams.
It does not do to draw on dreams and forget to live.
So
and he
good.
says, "Man, men have wasted away in front of this thing and even gone mad. So like, just don't come looking for
Don't
this
mess
thing
around.
again."
Don't mess around.
Maybe lock the door.
We get what's that?
Maybe lock it away or something. Like-
Yeah, like maybe don't put it in again. Hogwarts playing fast and loose these rules. Some kid all of a sudden you forget that kid. Where the fuck is that little Seamus kid been? You look up, he's dead.
He jumped in the room of spikes.
He's been standing there because
Spikes.
Yeah.
Should have got in there.
Spike spelled backwards though.
We get another great shot of Harry and Hedwig. This is an iconic shot of them walking through the snow, where he's got him on his arm, and then he releases Hedwig, and Hedwig flies up. And then when we catch back up with them again, it's no longer Christmas time. Now it's springtime. Another time change is great. I love the shot. And how could Hermione be so stupid? She was like, it's been in front of me the whole time. I checked this book out to do a little bit of light reading and just slams down this like 1,000-page book. And she's like, Nicholas Flamel is in this book. He is the person who's made the Sorcerer's Stone. He's one of the few people that actually has a Sorcerer's Stone. What does the Sorcerer's Stone do? Well, it grants the user immortality. It gives him the elixir of life, and does one other thing. It can turn metal into gold and produce the elixir of life, which will make you immortal. That's what's under the trapdoor. It must be what Fluffy is guarding. Hermione, again, proving you don't really need Harry or Ron. She could probably have figured this shit out herself.
Smart
That's
kid.
fine.
Smart
Could
kid.
have just called the movies Hermione.
Hermione and the Adventures of Being Alone. They go to Hagrid and tell him
She wasn't alone.
Well, she would have been without Harry and Ron because
Sure,
she was a social pariah. They go to Hagrid and tell him that they know about the Sorcerer's Stone, and they think Snape tried to steal it. And Hagrid's like, "No, Snape is one of the professors guarding the stone." But
They
it's a
go to
waste.
Hagrid at night.
They go to Hagrid night, right? But it's a waste of bloody time. Only two people know about the how to get past Fluffy. Him and Dumbledore. What? What are you laughing at? Okay, it's him and Dumbledore, and he's like, "Shit, I shouldn't have told you that." It's established also that Hagrid won a big.
You send it to assets.
Yeah.
Great. So it's established, of course, that Hagrid has a dragon egg, and a stranger gave him that, which is weird because Hagrid's always wanted the thing he's wanted most in life is a dragon. So it's cool. The egg hatches, of course, and it's a Norwegian Ridgeback who he calls Norbert. Hagrid's always wanted this thing, but unfortunately, it's actually illegal to keep a dragon here. So don't tell anyone about it. But
I love the name, Norbert. It's so cute.
Yeah, Norbert, of course. But who's spying on them? That piece of shit, Draco Malfoy, just out there. Just
Peeking
probably.
out
Do you
a
think he was
window.
slow jerking it too out there?
Yeah, definitely.
Like I'm gonna
God.
fucking get these
Yeah.
guys. Oh, daddy, like it.
Jesus.
Of course, we're like, this is not good.
Can we pull this up?
Yeah.
The world needs to see this.
Look at those sexual looks, dude.
That's really good.
That's not a sexual. Yours is a sexual look. His is not sexual at all.
Corey Cundy. God damn it.
Like
I
his
love
look
you.
is, I don't know what to think of this. Your look is,
His is, I'm intrigued. I'm intrigued. by
I feel like
this.
his is like, am I gonna kill this kid?
Yeah.
Am I gonna murder this child?
It's like I'm horny.
No.
He's like, this kid looks a lot like his
I don't
mother.
like it.
You know
I'm
what I'm
gonna grab
talking
my
No,
wallet
it
right
looks
now.
just like his dad.
All right.
Mother's eyes.
Of course, Malfoy immediately goes and squeals on them. He goes straight to McGonagall, and she takes 50 points from each of the students and gives them detention, and that includes Malfoy. And he's like, whoa,
That's
what
real
the
funny.
fuck? And she's like, yo, bro, first off, I'm the head of the opposite house of you, so of course I'm gonna fuck you over because ethics in this place mean absolutely nothing. And as good as your intentions were, you were also breaking the rules by being out of class. So
Great.
fuck you, little shit.
Yeah, a
of
little
course,
shit getting it.
immediately have to serve detention, which I like. Like you gotta serve detention. They don't. I mean, maybe it's the next day. Who knows? But they just fuck it. We're gonna
Also,
jump some time in.
detention? Are you fucking kidding me? Oh, you're
Terrifying.
going to the dark forest. What?
That's a death sentence.
Yeah.
Nah, they had a dog with them. They would have been fun.
But Fang, of course, is a coward, so
Yeah.
good luck with him. They split up. He's like, what are we looking for? And he's like, listen, I found some unicorn blood. We got to go find whatever's hunting these unicorns down and figure out what the fuck's going on. 'cause
Jesus.
unicorns
We're
are
looking
awesome.
for a dying
Put
unicorn
me in a room.
so that we can end its pain.
I'm 11 years old. I've proven that I cannot do a single spell. Put me
I cannot defend
in the forest
myself.
to find the dead unicorns
Yeah.
and the
And-
thing that's hunting them.
And the worst part of it is, I'll be with Hermione. You and Harry go do that thing, or I'll be with Ron. You and Harry go off. 2 11-year-olds, like unsupervised.
Tell you
That's
what,
fine. There's always a friendly centaur
listen,
around.
man, you got to grow up fast at Hogwarts. That's what makes a wizard a wizard.
Yeah.
You either live or you fucking die.
Also,
that's how it goes.
We know that Hagrid is dumb. Like he's a dumb guy that made it. Frankly, it's McGonagall's fault.
Yeah.
Like she should have like set the rules and been like, hey, don't split up.
Again, I think part of her is hoping that Malfoy gets killed, and thus weakening the Slytherin
get
house
it.
so that her house can achieve greatness.
Yeah.
They look, and of course, we see what unicorn blood looks like. And Tim, what does it look like to you? That's right, the liquid metal effect from Super Mario 64. That's
Oh, I
right.
thought
okay.
T2.
Okay.
That's what I
I've
thought.
always loved.
Both good answers. Good answers.
How does the music go?
Yeah, the metal music.
Yeah, Metal Mario, so good.
We don't really see what Hagrid does, but we do catch up with Harry and Malfoy, and Malfoy's like, this is fucking dumb. And for the first time in my life, I find myself agreeing with Malfoy. I'm like, this is a very irresponsible thing to have these kids do, but it doesn't matter because they come across the unicorn and something horrifying eating and drinking its blood.
Really scary.
Really scary wraith-like creature that looks up and has fangs and a silver face, and it's like,
It's the thing you see is that when you watch this movie as a kid, you're like, oh, I'm scared right now.
Yeah.
Like I feel fear.
it of course goes straight for Harry and would have killed him too were it not for Ferenz, I think is the name of that
Yeah.
character.
Franz,
Friends.
Friends.
Our
Friends.
friends.
The one, the
who is
dude
it?
that was fucking J.K. Rowling.
Giant magical centaur who may or may not allegedly have
Wow.
banged J.K. Rowling
Guys,
with his
there's
very
something
average
like-
size.
Average human-sized dick.
We're gonna make a lot of centaur jokes later. Just leave them for there.
Okay. He of course scares the wraith-like figure away, and it floats away in this very weird kind of way. And he's like, Harry Potter, you should not have come here. Obviously, it's a dumb idea
He's
for
like,
you to be
this
here.
is super dangerous.
Get the
There's
hell
no
out.
rules against this shit.
And of course, they lay down what's going on. He's like, why would someone be doing this? And he's like, well, if you drink a unicorn's blood, it's a terrible crime. They're the most pure of animals ever. But if you drink their blood, it will keep you alive. But you pay a terrible, terrible price for it.
Again, awesome world building. Like I love all
Yeah,
this.
you
I
have
love
like,
all this lore.
You will
It's
live
really
like
cool.
a half-life,
Half-life.
basically, is what he
Cursed.
says. Just like the game. And he's like, who would do such a thing? And Franz is like, could you think of
Who?
no one that would do that? And
Who
he's
indeed?
Like, Voldemort. And he's like, yeah, dude, I could have just said that, but it's
Yeah.
way more dramatic for me to ask you the question.
it's
To
stupid.
answer
Why
your
would-
question with the question.
Like I feel like that's where his mind should have gone first.
Right.
You know.
Back in the Gryffindor common room, they surmise that Snape is trying to steal the stone for Voldemort, who is still alive in the forest and staying alive on unicorn blood. Do you think they're trying to kill you, Harry? And he's like, I think they would have killed me if it wasn't for that centaur. Like I would have. We need to go to. But like we should go to. Actually, they don't go to Dumbledore yet. They talk about Dumbledore, and he's like, listen, as long as you're here and Dumbledore's here, you're going to be fine, because Dumbledore, of course, is the only person that Voldemort ever feared. And remember that, because it's the coolest fucking thing anyone's ever said. FYI.
It's true.
It's fucking cool. The next day, the kids have to take the urine exams, and Hermione has a great moment where she's like,
Stop
I always
saying
heard they
her
were...
name that way.
Hermione.
Thank you.
Whatever. I mean, Hagrid says Hermione.
Hagrid says it like Hermione. Yeah.
That's how they say it.
Are you Hagrid?
I
I thought it was Hermione.
What's that?
When I first read it, I thought it was Hermione.
Oh, same.
Wow.
I thought Sirius Black was Cyrus Black, and then I heard in the movies. I was like, oh, that's right. There's another vowel in there. The next day, of course, the kids are taking exams, and Hermione
What vowel is that?
is like, I've always heard these were terrible, but I really enjoyed them. And Ron's just befuddled because all the words hurt his head. That's what happened. Harry, of course, Harry's scar hurts, and he surmises that it must have been. He's like, this must be some sort of early alert, like Harry Potter sense, where like if danger's near, like I get it, and we'll call it Potter sense from now on. They spot Hagrid playing the flute,
Potter
and
tingle.
a
The Harry
light
tingle.
bulb goes off in Harry's mind where he's like, of course, it's too much of a coincidence. I should have seen this. Hagrid's always wanted a dragon, and it just so happens that he's got all the information needed to sneak past this thing, and someone came and gave him a dragon. So they go over and they're like, hey, the stranger that gave you this dragon, what was he like? And he's like, I don't remember what he looks like. And he's like, well, did you give him any information about this? He's like, no, I didn't give him any information about this. He just seemed really interested in like how to tame beasts. And I told him, I was like, the easiest way to tame a beast is like Fluffy is just to play music for him. He'll fall right asleep. I shouldn't have said that. And realizes he's a complete fucking moron. And again, why anyone would entrust him with this incredibly important thing is beyond me. But we love Dumbledore's got his reasons.
Don't give him the nuclear codes.
Exactly. Don't give him the ball, for Christ's sake. He played music and he was right asleep. They raced to Professor McGonagall. This is where I'm like, okay, they finally got smart. Go to Professor McGonagall and be like, we got to talk to Dumbledore right now. Because some shit's going down.
And also, Hagrid's a moron. We can't talk to him.
And McGonagall's like, I know. But also, shouldn't one of you be practicing Quidditch? A lot of money riding on you, Harry. Of course, she's like, no, we can't talk to Dumbledore. He's been called away. How do you know about the Sorcerer's Stone? Just mind your own fucking business. He got an urgent owl. He's got to go to the
But
ministry.
then they went and they were like, oh, it's Snape. And she was like, the fuck are you talking about? It's
Yeah,
definitely
it's not Snape. It's definitely not Snape.
I know for a fact that it's not Snape.
Right.
And I was
Of
like,
course,
all right.
Snape catches them in the corridor, and he's like, "Oh, a bunch of
are you
Gryffindors
guys-
like
yeah.
you hanging out.
Go
People might
play
think
in
you're
the
up to
sun."
shit." And it's like it's that classic thing where like when you're up to shit, and you see other people, you blame it on them, so they don't. You deflect the blame. They're like, "Oh, Snape's definitely up to shit," because he says we're up to shit. Doesn't matter. Let's move on. They sneak out of the common room. So they're like, "Listen, tonight we got to go in there. We got to take the stone." Now, here's the one problem I have with this movie. Okay, the stone is being guarded by a 3-headed dog. That is at least one level of security. What the fuck were they going to do with the stone once they found it? What were they going to do?
Turn metal to gold.
Walk around with it? Like, oh, it's better off in our possession?
I-
Snape would have like, you're fucking dead.
I thought that they thought like it was. Were they just getting it to guard it themselves, or were they getting it because they thought that was the night he was gonna get in there?
I think they
and
were
get
getting it so that they could hide it again and guard it themselves, but it's just not.
That's dumb.
Again, Avada Kedavra, you're fucking dead. Snape could kill
Kedavra.
Avada Kedavra. You kill you right now.
Yeah.
Dumb idea, but they're dumb kids and they're
Candy
fools.
corpus
They're
or
fools and they're
whatever.
rushing in, right?
Candy Corpus, yeah.
Of course, they're like, we got to go at this thing now. They try to sneak out of the common room, and they look over and they see a toad. And Neville Longbottom is there. And he's like, listen, motherfuckers, I don't know what you're up to, but we keep losing. We're hemorrhaging points right
tired of
now.
losing points.
And I'm tired of this shit. So you're not going out. And Hermione drops him like a fucking bad habit. She's like, sorry about this. Bang, concussion. He just
Broken skull.
petrifies him.
It just
Bleeds out.
And of course, this is where I, as a person who suffers from claustrophobia, get terrified because I was like, I'm just going to sit here paralyzed forever, still understanding what's going on with me. It's like when people go under for surgery, but it doesn't quite put them out, so they're aware of what's going on.
It's terrifying.
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 Fuck you, Hermione. I would never forgive you for this. Unless you went with me to prom with me.
relax.
All right, let's
It's
go.
like that. It's like in
Senior
Rick and
prom.
Morty. There's that one drug they take where they, right? I don't know.
Petrificus
I don't know,
Totalis
something-
is the name of the game. Of course, Ron's like, dude, you're a little scary sometimes. Brilliant, but scary.
Yeah. Like another, I think, really cool line.
Yeah, I love that. They enter the room with a third floor and find Fluffy fast asleep. Snape's already been here and he's put a spell on the harp and it's playing. They're like, okay, let's move his paw. They move his paw, and then all of a sudden everything goes quiet. And they're like, is that really quiet in here? And then just a big old fucking piece of slobber hits Ron's
But it
shoulder.
smelled terrible. I bet
And he's
Ron
like,
for the rest of the
"Oh,
day just
why did he
smelled
grab
awful.
it?
Well, Ron probably smells a little grubby cubby anyway because he's the dirty kid in class. So they're like, shit. They look up. The thing is crazy. It goes. It bites the trapdoor. They jump down to the trapdoor and they're like, oh, thank God we're fucking safe now, except we've landed it in this creepy
Thank God
ass
we are going to fall
shit.
into a series of 3 rooms that
Yep.
each use one of our skills perfectly.
Right. They do that, of course. Hermione has read about herbology and figures out that this is Devil's Snare. Figures out you got to relax. Does the sunlight thing to it. Cool. We go into the next room. There's keys there. Of course, this is Harry's challenge where there's a broom and he's got it. They find the one key. But the second he grabs it, these things come at him like a swarm of bees. They get to that room. And the next room is chess. It's wizard chess. He's like, do you think this is gonna be like wizard's chess? And he tests one of the moves out, and the thing just explodes
Dude.
the pawn.
This is one of the fucking coolest things
Yeah.
I've ever seen. And I was like, oh shit, this is so tight. This is so hype. I love the look. The moment they actually started playing though, and like the cuts they're using, I'm like, this is trashy.
It was weird.
It's just
This
very
sucks.
old
It could have been
editing,
so
yeah.
cool.
The
And yeah,
cuts were
the
real
editing
bad.
and like just like the weird slow mo they did at
Why
parts.
do
I'm
they
like,
do that?
this
I'm
looks
so
like a made
happy
for
we're
TV
over that.
movie.
They
Like,
needed.
come
They
on.
just. I mean, they can't show the full chess game. That
I
shit's
get
like
that,
hours.
but like
I get it.
Could have had like they might as well have had Star Wars.
Do they have? They had like slow fades, right?
Yeah.
that's what it
It
was.
was
Slow
weird.
fades. It was slow mo
Slow
while
fades.
fading.
Yeah, there's no. By the way, there's like no
Weird
other dissolves in this
zooms.
movie
Yeah.
at all, and they just use hell long dissolves. Like we got to do something here.
And what's up with that piece that's just like cuddled over like a little turtle?
pawns?
Those are the
I hate,
pawns.
I hate,
Pawns,
I hate the way
pawns.
it's shaped. I just hate.
I like it, dude. He's ready to strike.
They get down to the final few moves and they're about to win, but Hermione and Harry Harry figures it out. He's like, uh-oh. And Ron's like, that's right. I'm going to move into position. The queen's going to take me out. And then, of course, Harry, that leaves you free to checkmate the king.
Checkmate.
And Hermione's like, no, you can't do this. And Ron's like, listen, we all know I am useless.
Yeah.
God.
So let me just do this one for you. And it's a very touching moment because he's like,
Yeah.
let me just do this for you guys.
Dope
Everyone
shit.
knows that. He's like, I don't know why I know this, but I just know that Harry is the one person that needs to go through that door.
Yeah.
And Hermione's like, fuck, you're right. Bye, Ron. And then he gets exploded and
He's
concussed.
fucking exploding,
As long
dude.
as it stabs the thing and doesn't slash at it, we'll be good.
Exactly.
And
Yeah.
luckily, it just.
There was
Why
this
did he
scene-
ride the knight? Because
you had-
Harry and Hermione were their own spaces.
Well, but I think that's why he rode the knight.
Someone had to control
Yeah.
the game pieces, and there were 2 empty spaces, so I think he had to just call the ball. I don't know. It makes sense
Well,
in the we
I
have to
think the
isolate Harry somehow.
I think the knight was also empty. It didn't have a person on the horse.
oh, that might have been it.
Yeah.
So we had to write it.
I imagine.
So
yeah.
I think what happens in the books is that the knight is already on the horse, and he asks the knight, "Hey, I want to be this guy," and so the knight gets off the horse and he gets on it.
Cool.
I don't.
I don't remember
I'm
that
not-
at all, but it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
I like the idea of the room resetting
wrong.
itself for like however many people there are coming in and all the like everything fixing itself.
Whose challenge was this, by the way?
This is McGonagall's.
McGonagall's.
That was McGonagall's.
She's real good at chess.
Was Madam Hooch's the one before?
No, that was Flitwick because
Flitwick. I believe
the
it.
keys were charmed.
And then whose was the the herbology professors?
yeah.
Professor Sprout, who is the head of Hufflepuff.
Now, worth noting though, this is one of the omissions of the book and the movie. There were 2 more challenges, right? There was Quirrell's challenge and Snape's challenge.
We'll get to that.
Oh, okay.
Well, we're done. We're going into the Quirrell room.
Yeah.
Do you want to talk about it
I
now?
think he's doing a bit later.
Okay, you're doing a bit later. Cool. So of course he's like, look, Ron's fucked up. Hermione's like, I don't know what to do. He's like, stay with him. Actually, run back. Send an urgent owl. Get Dumbledore here. This shit just got real, and we're out of our depth. I'm gonna, instead of helping you, I'm gonna go into this other room real quick and just try to confront
I'm sure it's not,
whoever's
it's not
in
gonna
there.
be too crazy. Whoever's gotten past.
Yeah,
I'm sure I
exactly.
can take him.
Whoever could have figured out all this stuff with relative ease, apparently,
Yeah.
because it hasn't been that long. I'll take him. Of course, he goes into the room just hoping or thinking it's going to be Snape, and who do we find? Professor Quirrell, not Snape. That day,
Twist.
and it's a twist, and you're like,
Twist.
ah, and then you start thinking back, flashback. Every time Snape was there, Quirrell was there over his shoulder, and like, oh shit, when the scar hurt, he was there during the Quidditch match. He's like, I would have fucking killed you if it weren't for Snape doing that counter chant or the counter thing, and then someone lit it on fire, and all shit went to hell. I'm trying to kill you from day one, but Snape figured it out that was me, and he hasn't left me alone. It's been a year. It's been a year
Since Halloween, right?
and
He figured
Quirrell
out
has
Halloween.
it. 4 or 5 months, you couldn't get out of that fucking trapdoor. Snape has been on you like Snake on shit. Also, why didn't Snape tell Dumbledore? Like, hey, dude, this dude's fucking trying to get the stone. Kill him. Dumbledore. What-a-da. Avaga Kedavra. Well, you're dead.
Yeah.
Doesn't matter. Makes for a cool story. Of course, the final production room, we see the mirror of Erised. And this is awesome. I love this because he's like, I see this here. I know this is a fucking thing. I don't know how to get the stone out of it. And Harry goes over and looks over and he sees his reflection. And his reflection reaches into his pocket and goes, hey, dude, it's in your pocket. And Harry's like, there's something has swollen in my pocket for the first time.
Okay.
God damn.
Okay.
And it's the stone, okay?
And
Not the bone.
And Voldemort's like, use the boy.
Yeah, use the boy. And you're like, whoa, who the fuck
With
just
his
said
nose,
that?
you know what I mean?
And then
His
we
full
get
nose.
the great reveal. And he's like,
You get the reveal.
let me talk to him. And he undoes the turban on his head. And who's hanging out on the back of his head in this freaky ass fucking way? You'd think maybe suffocating because there's no air in that thing. Voldemort.
gotta smell real bad in there.
earlier I was just like, oh, obviously there's something up with his fucking head. Did not expect that.
Did not expect
Yeah.
it.
I
What
thought
a
snake
surprise.
related somehow because he had the stutter, and then we saw the snake at the beginning of the movie. I was like, he got some snake shit going on. Nah, it's a guy's face on the back of his head.
So Harry makes a run for it, and Quirrell just goes, snaps his fingers, flames pop up, getting in his way. And then Voldemort's like, hey, whoa. let's just chill this out a little bit.
Let's talk it out. Let's talk
Bro,
it out.
like, we don't know each other. You don't know me. Why don't I make you an offer? You missed your parents? I saw your parents in the mirror earlier.
Get him out.
We'll get them out, man. We'll bring them back. Like you and me.
fine.
Just give me the stone. It'll be cool. Right? And Harry's like, oh, okay. That makes sense. Then he looks in the mirror and his parents are gone. And he's like, you're a lying motherfucker. Like, you can't get them out of there. They're dead. Like, he realizes that this is just total bullshit. And then he's like, what's that?
I don't remember that at all.
Yeah, it was a very subtle thing because I don't remember seeing it. I was like, I remember thinking like, what?
Well,
during the
he
scene-
starts to try to sell him on this idealism of like there's no like right
There's
and
no
wrong.
right,
It's-
wrong, or
and
evil.
that's when the herons like kind of fade away to remind Harry like that's not what we stand for.
This ain't
Right.
real.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it's really good. Because there's no good or evil, there's only power, and those who are too weak to seek it. Together we can do extraordinary things. And then
cool.
Harry sees his parents disappear and realizes that if he were to do that, like, yeah, it would just be bad. And so he goes, you're a liar, and Quill's like, I'm gonna attack this motherfucker.
You ever heard of Darth Plagueis the Wise?
Exactly. Yeah, have you ever seen Sand? It's terrible. Harry, of course, Quirrell grabs him, and Harry grabs his hands, and they start burning, and then Harry realizes, holy shit, I don't know what the fuck's going on. But I got the touch! And just grabs his face.
Yeah, right
He was
away.
straightforward. Good for him.
Why not? Just kill a motherfucker.
I was telling Kevin I would like to see if like this is something that I want to openly challenge Corridor crew to do is like deep fake
They don't watch our
the
stuff.
most recent like deep fake the
Ray
way
Fiennes.
Voldemort has looked for the entirety of the series.
Because he has a
on-
nose in this, and he doesn't have a nose in the rest of it.
Yeah, like he has like that little like snake
Yeah.
nostril shit. I'd like to see that.
Although there's reasons why he wouldn't look like that.
Yeah, there's this possibility of depending on when he.
Yeah, when
Yeah,
we'll go into
stuff
that later.
happens.
But it could be explained.
Yeah.
Of course, Harry turns into Ash. And no repercussions for him
No, not
committing
Harry,
his
Quirrell.
No, Harry turns Quirrell to Ash.
Yeah.
Quirrell goes to Ash, and Harry's like, "Cool, I beat him. I didn't just
I
commit
won.
murder.
10 points for
Hey,
me.
I've committed murder."
Quirrell
now."
being like, what sort of magic is this? It's like, damn, this does not look like he's enjoying
No,
it. You know?
he died a horrible death.
Very
Harry
painful.
didn't think anything of it. You never revisit it again.
Good
no
old
therapy
murder.
needed. Just murdered him. It's fine. Of course, everything's cool.
Self-defense.
We think it's great, but Dumbledore's not dead. His spirit actually is there.
Nope.
And his spirit forms and is like Voldemort, excuse me. Voldemort's like, I'm gonna go right through you, bro. I can't really hurt you anymore, but I'm gonna fucking go through your chest.
That was weird, right? What was that?
You think it'd
just
also be
knocked
like
him
this?
out.
Oh, the stone's right there. Let me figure out a way to get the stone, but I guess
Yeah.
he needed a human life for it.
I guess.
Why
Why didn't he just jump? Like instead of jumping through Harry, why didn't he
go into
attach
Harry?
himself into the back and control him?
I think you have to be willing for that to happen. You have to be a
Yeah.
willing participant.
Yeah, I
and
guess
Quirrell
so.
was like, I have nothing in life. I will do this for you. And also maybe he just got off on someone being on his back. Who
I think
knows?
Quirrell's story is a little sadder in the books, but
Barrett will tell us. Of course, Harry wakes up a few days or weeks later. I can't remember. In the hospital ward.
felt like a day later.
Maybe a day later. And his friends, he's like, oh, you've had a lot of visitors. Your friend Ron and Hermione were very, very worried about you. He's like, oh shit, are they okay? He's like, dude, don't worry, they're fine. Ron's fine. We can't tell if he's dumber or not because you can't really get any dumber than Ron is. So
God.
the concussion may or may not have done anything to him. Doesn't matter.
You're great, man.
And Harry's like, what happened to the stone? And Dumbledore's like, it's been destroyed. My dear friend and I, Nicholas Flamel, had a conversation and we decided it'd be just best to be destroyed. Of course, because of your actions and because if you had done nothing, they would have never been able to get the stone. But you did something, so now my friend Nicholas Flamel has to put all of his affairs in order because he's going to fucking die.
Yeah.
So you could have just been cool, Harry, and done nothing, but
Yeah.
you did something,
Yeah, he's
and
gonna
that's
die.
cool, but my friend's going to die now. And he's like, well, how did the stone get in my pocket anyway? And this is great. Dumbledore's like, only a person who wanted to find the stone but did not want to use it could get it.
So
and he goes, and that's
fucking
one
cool,
of
man.
my more brilliant ideas.
Yeah, I
Hell
like how
yeah.
he was like, "That was a really good idea. That was a really good idea."
That was a really
dope.
good idea. He's like, wow. So if you just communicated to me that I just could, like, you had the shit under lock, like handled, I would have just not done any of this.
it would have
been
stayed
fine.
in the like. If you had told me,
And maybe we could have killed
like-
Voldemort once and for all because we would have figured out that.
yeah.
for
Well, let's keep. going.
Anyway, is Voldemort dead? And Dumbledore's like, I don't think so, dude. Like,
idea.
there's
I'll
ways
be
for him to
honest
come
with
back.
you.
And honestly, I don't have a good feeling about this.
We have a lot of movies to go.
And then yeah, it was 8 more movies, 10 more movies. And then he's like, what the hell was that? Why did I touch him and it burned? And he goes, well, he couldn't bear to have you touch him because Harry, your mom sacrificed herself for you, and that leaves a mark. And Harry goes, the scar. And he's like,
like,
no,
no,
not,
you idiot.
not the scar, you dumb fuck.
No, the power of love.
He's like, love.
Yeah.
It leaves a mark. And
Right.
and he's like, that's why he couldn't touch you because you
You were
saved from
loved.
pure love. And then he goes, oh, look at this. Birdie Bots, every flavor of beans. He's like, I was very unfortunate as a child to have gotten a vomit flavored one, but you know what? I think I'll just try one more. And he tries one. He's like, earwax.
Fuck.
Great.
Just well done. We're like, does he like it or not? It doesn't matter.
It looked like he
no
liked it.
ambiguity.
I feel like he's just like, I'm never doing this shit again.
Of course, next up, we get a very endearing scene where Harry sees Hermione and Ron on the balcony. He's like, all right,
And
then.
my first thought for this was like, this motherfucker's been in a coma for 15 years. He walks out and he just sees them together. He's like, damn,
I lost my chance.
Damn, I lost my chance.
Yeah.
Just saying. What shoulda, coulda, woulda. He goes, all right, that wrong? And he's like, yeah. He's like, Hermione. He's like, she's like, never better. They just have a nice little touching moment. It's not like over gushy, but they're like, we did something cool.
We did something cool.
That night in the Great Hall, of course, we get the House Cup, which, of course, Ravenclaw right now during this podcast is ahead 15 points to 0 for everyone else. Fourth place, Gryffindor with 312 points. Hufflepuff has 352 points. Second place, Ravenclaw, what up, Burn Blue, 426 points. And then the first, of course, Slytherin, 42 points. And we noticed that, by the way, the hall is decorated with Slytherin banners because they have, I think, been the champions for the last couple of years.
7 years,
7 years. Hermione... and then cool, let's give him out. And then Dumbledore interrupts. He's like, I got a couple last minute points to award.
Bullshit.
Wait, but
dude.
like after congratulating
Yeah.
him,
Do it before.
What a dick.
What the fuck
What
is
a
up with
dick
this?
move.
Again,
It's cool.
Bias is all hell, man.
we have established there are no moral ethics at Hogwarts.
There's
We
good
just-
guys and bad guys.
And it's one of those things where you're like, maybe Dumbledore, maybe if you were just cool with the Slytherins, you could turn that house from being a fucking place of ill repute to being like an actual cool house. But no, let's fuck him over again.
McGonagall slips him like a $20 bill.
McGonagall just slips in a $20 bill and then does a bump because she's fucking railing in the background. She's making sports bets. Call him Uncle Danny. She's like, here you go. R.I.P. Uncle Danny. Of course, got a couple last minute points to
Best
award.
bookie in town, dude.
Hermione gets 50 points for cool use of intellect while others were in great peril. 50 points. Ron for the best played game of
making
chess
up rules.
that Hogwarts has ever seen in these many years. 50 points. And then of course Harry for pure nerve and outstanding courage. 60 points. And that's cool.
And
then-
also an additional 100 because I'm sorry that you had to fucking like witness a unicorn being eaten alive.
That was my bad. My
was
bad.
really scared
I
for
was
y'all.
gone. That should not have been given to detention. Usually, you just sit in a room and do homework.
It's funny that like at no point where they're like, oh hey, we're gonna have to take some points away for killing a teacher. Like that seems like that should be a rule, regardless. If
Yeah,
the
10
teacher was
points away from
fucking-
Gryffindor for murdering a professor.
I know that, like, future spoiler, but just like keeping it vague. Like, do the points start making any more sense?
Yeah, not really.
No.
Really?
The points are just like-
is it still always this bullshit, just like Gryffindor?
The points stop being a thing.
I'll be honest with you. I don't think anyone gets points for the rest of the series except for Gryffindor because
think in the
mainly we
next one
focus on
there's a
Gryffindor.
couple more point
Does like
moments.
Hufflepuff get some at some point?
No. God,
They
no.
take some away, but
they really focus on it this time because it's Harry's first experience.
Yeah.
But after his first year, it's like we don't give a
Yeah,
fuck
nobody
about
gives a
this.
fuck. Guess what?
so
We're not gonna talk about
arbitrary.
Quidditch too much more either.
But if you notice the points actually add up, they don't beat Slytherin, they've tied Slytherin, and
Quidditch
everyone's
a
like,
little
oh, okay, that's cool. But then of course Albus has one more. Some more points to award, and I fucking love
That's a good
this
moment. Good
because
moment.
he goes, "Let me tell you guys, it takes a great deal of bravery to stand up to your enemies, but a greater deal more to stand up to your friends, and that's why I'm giving 10 points to Neville Longbottom."
Hell
Seems
yeah,
like it
dude.
takes less because
I love his reaction. It's
But
adorable.
dude, it's such an endearing reaction because
Yeah.
you can tell this kid, like, real talk is like, no one likes him. He's kind of a loser.
God damn it.
And like,
Who do
no,
you
but like, but in the grand scheme, like,
Longbottom.
Yeah,
and
yeah,
you'll, for reasons why later, but like the Longbottoms have not had a good history, and he doesn't have a lot of friends, and there's just this moment where he's like, wow, I've actually done something like noteworthy, and it's a very endearing
the
moment.
look of shock
His
is
grandma is gonna be so proud of
Yeah,
him.
that kid. I mean,
Yeah.
and the kid that plays him, I think, just does a great Neville
Yeah.
Longbottom the entire time.
Very
I thought that was
handsome
a very, very
man
touching
now.
moment.
He's an
Of course,
adult.
Gryffindor wins the House Cup. Dumbledore claps his hands. Fuck you, Slytherin. Gryffindor's coming down. None of us are excited here because none of us are
Claps and, like,
Gryffindors.
flicks.
But
yeah,
the
it's
change
true.
is so
It's true, Nick.
cool.
and then, of course, we go back to Hogsmeade Station, where the train is about to pull out and take everyone home. And Hagrid's like, "Hey, I got a little surprise for you." And he gives him this book, and Harry opens it up, and it's a picture book of his youth, and it's his parents, and they're moving, and it's cool. And I just love that. And then Harry's like, "Thank you for everything," and Hagrid's like, "Yeah, you're awesome, dude."
Yeah, you're awesome, dude.
And they
Yeah,
give him a
fuck
hug, and then he goes,
fuck
"Hey,
with
by the way, if
Kevin."
your cousin gives you shit when you get home, you can always threaten to give him a pair of ears to go along with that tail." And Harry's like, "You know, it's illegal for us to do magic outside of Hogwarts." He's like, he goes, "I do, but your cousin doesn't." So he's like, it's okay to threaten his life as long as you don't do anything because you won't go to jail. Later on, does Harry play a little fast and loose with that? We'll see. We'll see.
Yep.
And then at the train, we get the great line where Harry joins back up with Hermione and Ron. And Hermione goes, "It feels strange to be going home, doesn't it?" And Harry looks back at Hagrid. And of course, over his shoulder is Hogwarts Castle. And he's like, "I'm not really going home." He's like, "I'm not going home. Not really." Love it. And the train pulls away. And in the distance, we see Hogwarts Castle. And that is it.
So
Ladies and
good.
gentlemen, gotta love it. Andy, can you prep us for this one right here?
I don't. You told me this too late.
I did. Yeah, give me a song, Andy. Give me a song.
Boss baby, book corner, boss baby, Book Corner. He's gonna tell us a story.
Welcome to the Boss Baby Book Corner, where Barrett Courtney will tell us some of the differences from the movie compared to the book.
What's up, everybody? Welcome to Boss Baby's Book Corner, a podcast within the podcast where I share the most important details from the Harry Potter books that were cut from the movies. My name is Barrett Courtney. I am your host, and this week we will be talking about Harry Potter and the Sorcerer's Stone, or Philosopher's Stone if you're a dork that doesn't live inside the U.S.
Yeah. You say number one.
Oh, governor, it's a philosopher. They do magic too.
To give context, I'm a huge fan of the Harry Potter books. If we're talking just books, Harry Potter might be my favorite franchise IP of all time.
Fuck yeah.
My love for the movies, however, definitely vary from movie to movie.
Yeah.
So I thought this would be fun for the book nerds like me who are sticklers for details, and I thought it might be interesting for audience members like Tim who are going through this for the first time and learn some extra stuff because God knows they will never read the books. So we're starting with Sorcerer's Stone, which is only 308 pages, so it wasn't that hard for the first movie to get all of the important details. So I got a little nitpicky for this one. Detail number one, in the movie, Mrs. Figg, the woman who babysits Harry when the Dursleys don't want to take him out places, is cut from the movie. I won't get into why I think that's significant to avoid future spoilers. Detail number two, Peeves the poltergeist who haunts Hogwarts is not only cut from this movie, but is cut from the entire Harry Potter movie franchise, which is unfortunate. He's a goon. He's like good comedic relief, much like Fred and George Weasley.
JK took that as a challenge, too, and included him way more.
Wait, what?
She took that as a challenge.
Oh, yeah?
Because they were like, oh, it's too expensive and difficult to do what you want to do with this poltergeist. And so they cut him out. And she was like, I'm going to include him way more in the story now.
God. Yeah. That was artful, Nick.
What did he do?
Don't worry about it.
I overfilled my Coke and I had to jump in there with my mouth.
And I had to jump in there with my mouth. No other option.
I let it spill, but I don't want things to get sticky near Kevin's corner.
Detail number three, in the book, the first years who are called up to get sorted into their houses, McGonagall calls them up in alphabetical order by last name. In the movie, she just does it in any random fucking order that she wants to. How do you go from Malfoy to Granger to Weasley to Potter? Doesn't make any fucking sense. Get your shit together, movie McGonagall.
Crazy.
And then the last detail for this week is that in the movie, there were two more rooms after the dangerous chess game that were cut that were protecting the stone. The first room was a room provided by Quirrell, which was just a room with a giant troll that was already knocked out that Harry and Hermione go through. And then the second room that they cut out, which I find more interesting, is the room that Snape set up, which when they walk in, there's two walls of fire that block their entrance and exit. And in the middle of the room, there's a row of cups, and it's they're left with a riddle. And it's three of these are wine, two of these are potion, two of these are poison. One of these will let you go through the fire forward. One of these will let you go back, and one of these just does nothing and kind of gives context clues of there will always be poison left to the wine and stuff like that. Cool little moment, obviously, to showcase how clever Hermione is because she solves it very quickly. But it's
they didn't expect two more kids to be joining their group. I'm like, well, this kid's real good at riddles.
Yeah.
This kid.
Ridley Riddleston.
But
Mr. Riddleston.
But it was a nice little detail, I thought, for Snape as well, because he didn't rely his room on being about knowing what potions are, but more about riddles and logic and stuff like that.
About being smart.
And that, ladies and gentlemen, concludes this episode of Boss Baby's Book Corner. Are there any other important details you think I missed? Leave them in the comments below. And hey, while you're at it, why don't you give this video a like, share with your friends who love Harry Potter, and subscribe to this channel if you haven't already. That wraps up Book Corner for this week, and I'll see you next week. But until next time, Wingardium Leviosa.
There you fucking go. And now, the next podcast within a podcast. Real excited for this one. This is the Golden Snitches Get Stitches, a.k.a. the Cool Greg Effect.
Yeah.
Andy.
Cool, Greg. We should probably work on a theme song for this because you're way more lyrical than I am. We can think about it. We can think about it next time. Yeah.
Cool Greg.
Yo,
What do you have to say about Harry Potter and the Sorcerer's Stone?
dope movie. I definitely think you guys should see it if you haven't. And it's the first time you get to see Voldemort, which is hella sick. So you see him twice, so go for that, man.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
There it is.
Ladies and gentlemen, that is the
Bullshit.
Golden Stitches Get
Concise.
Stitches segment of the show. We're not going to do Ragu Bagu in Harry Potter in
Thank
review because it
Also, there's
doesn't.
only one bad guy for the next 8 films.
There's
There's
two.
all
Right.
matter.
There's two.
Kind of.
Actually, they're right. There is a lot.
There are several.
lot.
But we are
every
going to
movie.
do haiku in review.
7 syllables in the middle. You'll need 5 for the first and last line. If you're not poetic, no need to fret it. Haikus don't need to rhyme. Haiku in review. Haiku in review. Everybody now. Who is it?
You can go to patreon.com/kindafunny to write in your reviews in haiku form, and they may get read on this beautiful show. Just like Jasek did, who says, looking back on this, how do these kids learn to write? To do basic math. Well, they go to normal school until they're 11, right?
We were discussing that earlier.
Great
I don't
question.
think we do. No,
Why
I don't think
wouldn't
they
they?
do. Because, well, I mean, you'll see more later, but like this isn't a plot. Like this doesn't move anything. But
Yeah.
like they don't know anything about the Muggle world.
Yeah, they really.
Yeah,
And the Muggle
like-
world is like they just.
It's just such a
They're
mystery.
they're very kept.
Oh, because
Yeah.
most of them are going home for the summer
To their
in
wizard
the
parents.
wizard world
Wizarding
home.
world.
Yeah.
Like, yeah.
But you have to assume there are other schools. There's like a primary school.
Well, so there's like Muggle-born people that are like, have just lived a normal life until they got this letter.
Yeah.
So they go to school.
Like, isn't-
but
They
like
got that
wizards?
I don't know if this is a spoiler,
I
but
don't think
isn't
it's-
one of the kids, Hermione's parents are like
Yeah,
dentists, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
They're
Maybe
just
they don't
normal
need
Muggles.
wizard or math there.
No,
Well, you
no,
definitely
so
would.
there is
They
like
have the equivalent
there's
to Google, where they're like, how many is that? When Guardian Leviosa, fucking it counts.
Yeah, cool.
They don't
Yeah,
care.
I think the kids get like kind of like homeschooled to at
Yeah.
least like know how to read and write.
They're dumb. Well,
Yeah.
wizards not the smartest. Like
Maybe
got
that's why
Porky's
Harry
and
was
shit.
the only one writing notes.
It's fair.
The rest of them
Wow.
didn't know how.
I actually can enchant their quills to write notes for
Yeah,
them.
it's really cool. You'll see.
Damn. Matt Edwards says, Quaffle and Bludgers. The snitch is hella OP. Harry's got mad skills.
Quaffles and bludgers.
Jasek also says, the sound mix is bad. The series improved so much. Wow, that child acting. And the nanobiologist has the final one today. CGI don't hold. Acting's not that great, but it's good to be home.
It is.
I like that one.
And now to rank the movies, Harry Potter and the Sorcerer's Stone is currently number one.
Number
Number
one.
one on the list.
Number
we'll,
one.
We'll see you guys next week for Harry Potter and the Chamber of Secrets.
What are the secrets?
I wonder what the secrets are.
Wow.
It's exciting
We're gonna find
times.
out.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's good.
All right.
Shit opens
Until
up.
next week.
Adios, cadabra.
I hate you.